my digital BFF, Jenny Walk from Elephant in the Room Consulting.
Hey, Kylie. Hello, everyone. So nice to see you. It's been a long time since we've joined a call like this. So I'm very excited. I think the last time Kylie and I did a kind of big workshop was probably the same time last year, I think. Um, Excuse me. So I'm excited to be here today. I hope you can all hear me fine. The session we're going to do today is a little bit different from those who may have joined us last year and done some of these workshops similar to us. There's a couple of new tricks that we'd like to share with you today. But before we start, I just want to do an acknowledgement of country and pay my respects to the Turrbal Yagara country that I'm working on and living on today. As a Bundjalung woman, I'm very proud to be able to share knowledge and wisdom across the world, and particularly to a beautiful bunch of men and women from across Australia, and also, as Kylie said, some from New Zealand and the UK. This day is really around for us to kind of help you get ready for 2024. I know we're at the end of the first month. We've given you a couple of weeks to get settled into what 2024 might look like and decide where you might be. So we may have created our power word, we may have created our intention for the year. So really the idea of today's session is just to help us get there and help you kind of start working to be able to achieve some of those big goals and some of those little goals. So Kylie's going to share a screen for us because Kylie's driving today to make it easier so we're not switching between PowerPoints. Makes it much easier. Our fabulous start of the day. Those beautiful photos there were taken at our last Empire Builders retreat. The amazing Kira Smith Photography took those for us, and some very fun photos with shoes and glasses of champagne where we like to play. So let's get started. So,
Do you want to just do a little overview of what we're covering?
I would love to. Yes, why not? So part one, so habits and goal setting. So we're looking at why we need goals. What is the value of them? Talking about clarity in systems and why that's so important in making sure that they stick. Creating your business big picture. So just changing that kind of big, hairy, audacious goal to what they're looking for. I seem to have missed a page, but that's all right. And then Kylie, after me, is going to pop in and start talking about that digital marketing strategy. So what are some of the trends for 2024? What's working on your social media today and what your strategy is. And I want you to consider some of the tips we give you. So when you've worked out what your strategy you're going to do for your social media, make sure that you remember some of these tips and hints that we're talking about setting goals and taking action so that you can make sure you deliver that strategy as you intended.
Awesome.
So we're going to start with, little introduction and then clarity, structure, and process, the three pillars that I built my business on, and we've been growing very strongly on those three pillars, what we're doing, why we're here, what that focus is. Getting real clarity around that allows us to direct our attention and focus our attention. Structure helps us understand how we do things. So that's the mechanics, that's the way that we work as our structure. And then the process and systems are those things that kind of drive and reinforce the right behaviors. So they either make it easier for us or they can make it harder. And I know a lot of people may have processes that are very clunky. So this is a conversation also how you might change those clunky processes. Thank you so much, Kylie. So a little bit about me. For those who are new to the room, we know we've got some amazing people I've seen before. We also have a lot of newbies in the room today and people I haven't seen before. So I thought I'd give you a really quick overview of who I am, and you're sliding through the slides a little bit fast, if I may, Kylie.
I think I've got a little problem, Jenny. I'm just
You
going to
must have
stop
it on
sharing
auto.
for a moment.
You might have it on auto.
It's no. It's just anything else I click anywhere, it's clicking through to a new slide. So
That's okay.
hang
I
on
can
just
just
one
share
moment.
mine.
Yeah, would you mind if you
Of
could
course not.
share yours? That would be awesome. Thank you.
That is no
I don't
problem
want
at
to
all.
mess it up for the whole
No,
session.
that's all right. I thought I normally talk really fast, but I thought that was particularly fast even for me. So I thought
I'm not a very good assistant, am I?
It's not your superpower, and that's okay. That's why we love you. Okay, let me make sure everyone can see my screen. Thumbs up from just one or two would be great. No, we're on the right track. Okay. One thing I hate on my Canva is the magic cursor. That big bloody thing that sits in the middle drives me mad. Okay, so a little bit about me. I started my life, my first, actually before the military uniform, I was actually a martial artist. I actually thought my job was going to be running martial arts schools around Australia. That changed when I went to university and got offered a job to join the military way back when. You can see that's actually a photo of an actual proper photo. Remember the photographs when you used to have little round edges and nice paper that you'd look through? I had to find that one many years ago. So that photo is of me actually at what they call your marching out parade. So when I was finishing officer training school back in 1997, very young and very kind of focused on having a military career. So I spent 7 years in the military actually as a security police officer. So very systems oriented, very process oriented, probably understands how my brain is working a bit now. I worked in a whole range of industries between there and the next photo, which is from Barcelona in 2017. And I ended up in Barcelona at Elisa Nichols' workshop, actually being her admin assistant for the 3-day mastermind, her very first immersive 3-day mastermind that she ever run. I got invited or gifted the opportunity to basically be in the workshop and be in the room. And all I had to do in exchange was cook some food and make sure people were fed and watered. And I could do that with very easily. So I got to spend some time with Lisa Nichols. And it was about this time or just before that I realized that I was doing a lot of jobs that I loved, but weren't loving me back. And it had been a cycle continuously. And I'm sure a lot of people on the call know what that's like. You start a job, you love it, you're really good with it, and then it just doesn't fit. So either you outgrow the job, or the job no longer loves you back, or the people in the job no longer love you back, and you have to move on and find a new adventure. In 2017, I realized that had been happening to me probably 3 or 4 times over my life. And it was the last time that I was going to allow it to happen. So in Barcelona, I started my company, Elephant in the Room Consulting. So we're a business consulting company. We focus on playing at the big and little end of the field. So we do a lot of work with small businesses, and so small to medium enterprises, to help them start, grow, and thrive. So we use that model of clarity, structure, process to really ensure businesses have everything they need to be successful, whether you're a solopreneur, a micropreneur, or an entrepreneur growing in massive empires. Whatever your empire looks like to you, that's what we help with. We also play at the big end of town, and I call it like that because we're talking multinationals to help them develop their big strategy. We draw on the same systems, the same methodology, and the same processes, though, to do that. We just have a slightly bigger scale of company that we're working with, and the impact that they're having is just different. It's multiple 500 to 2,500 employees and plus, looking at multiple sites and big strategies. So how we input and support them in their First Nation strategy particularly. But in between there, Barcelona and this current photo on the right-hand side, which was also taken at our last Empire Builders workshop, I got to be a published author, which really started me changing the way that I wanted to see the world. And being a published author was something that I really had always wanted to do. And I thought I was going to write a book. And that's still coming. Writing a whole book is coming. But this was the baby step. So we talk about goals and what your goals might look like. And they can change every day if you like, but we're looking at what are those things that are helping you move towards where you want to be in the future. And writing this chapter, being part of this book, which was called Ignite Your Life for Women. So it's a book that has 36 stories from women all around the world who kind of overcome their version of adversity. It may have been a job, it may have been menopause, it may have been a bad relationship, it may have been finding the love of their life. Whatever it was, it actually was just sharing their story and their hero's journey. And it made me realize that's the space I want to play: storytelling, sharing, and helping people express themselves. And how do we do that? We do that by helping people define goals. And that's what we're going to do today. So people talk a lot about goals. Why goals? I don't like setting goals. They're too hard. But really, if we break it down and think about what the goal is for, why do we want to set a goal? Well, a goal is a really great way to achieve success in every aspect of your life. It doesn't have to be in business. This could be in your personal life, could be your health and well-being. It could be simply, my goal is to be able to get my dog to sit. It doesn't matter what it is, but having a goal is actually providing you a pathway, or it's actually setting an intention. I look at goals as intention setting. It's what am I trying to achieve? What is the outcome that I want? And it just happens to be something along the way. So they also help you decide what's important and what to focus on. So by having a clear goal, so it might be, for example, I'm getting married in August this year. So many people are saying, what are you doing for your wedding? I might have a goal about what my wedding is going to look like, or what my hair might look like. I want to grow my hair long for the wedding. That's a goal that I may have set myself. If I don't get it, you know what I can do? Get hair extensions. It doesn't matter if I get it or not, but it's giving me something to work to. and it tells me what's important. But when you do it effectively, and particularly in a business context, goal setting allows you to measure your progress and helps you visualize your dream. I talked about intention setting, right? And it's creating a space for positive procrastination and wonder. Two of my favorite things, positive procrastinations and wonder. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that later. And also, when they're implemented effectively, they can create significant change in the way you work and live. So, full disclosure, of course, I'm a female. I want to get into a beautiful wedding dress. So, I'm like, have this mission to be smaller. My mission is not to be a particular size, but it's to feel healthy and comfortable in my wedding dress. And so I may have to decide what that looks like, but I just want to feel healthy and comfortable in my wedding dress. So what that looks like to me may be completely different to someone else. And I just completely lost my screen. So apologies if my camera has gone off to anyone. Can everyone still see me? Sorry.
We can't see you, but we can see your screen.
Oh, that's so strange. Everything just broke. Like my whole screen has just.
It's actually not the big screen though. It's like the screen with your notes.
Yeah. So it's the wrong screen. I'm sorry about that. We're having a great technical day today, aren't we? This very rarely happens to us, Kylie. What is happening today?
It's Canva's asking you, how would you rate the presenting experience? I'd tell them they've got a little issue today.
Wow, I'm just going to reset some things. I apologize. But while we talk about this, I can still keep talking. Can you see? We talked about goals. So one of the key things about goals, what I'd like people to do is pop in the chat for me a goal that you're looking to achieve. So what is something that you really want to achieve in your world? And if you could share that with me, I would be really keen. So what are the things that you're really excited about sharing yourself? And pop into the chat. So have you got a goal already before I tell you what my goals might be? I'm going to stop share, sorry. So in the chat, share what your goal might be. It can be big, it can be little. Oh, I love that. Help your daughter buy her first home. That's actually brilliant because that's going to help us out. I'm hoping, is it Beatty? Is that right? Perfect, Beatty. I'm going to actually, that's a great goal that we're going to use a little bit later. Let me see if I can get my video to start. Yes, I can. I might have to just change its position because I've lost one of my screens. So if I'm looking down now, see, this is going to be a challenge. But now you're going to look up and you're going to see my amazing necklace. Let's just call it that. Okay, hello everyone. I'm back again. Okay, so we've got get a passive income with recorded lessons. Oh, I love that. So an online school, maybe somewhere people can do digital downloads. I love that, Vanamala. That's very cool. Increase memberships in my herbology group. So I'm loving. So we've got all these, some personal goals, some very strong business goals. Excellent. Build a website. What a great goal, Donna. You're in the right space for that one. We can certainly help you reach that goal. So lots of really great goals, and they're all varying sizes. And this is what I love about individual goals. They can change the size that you want. So let's get actually, I can now find my Canva. Goodness gracious me. Here we go. And presenting. You can see the whole screen there. You can see all the slides. I'm giving you a preview at the moment. As I said, I've only got one share at the one screen at the moment, so I'm going to run it off a full screen. Okay, perfect. So one of the things that I often share to people, and I can't see anyone's faces at the moment, so apologies if you're waving at me, I can't see you. So one of the key things that we have a problem, people go, I cannot make my goals work. It doesn't stick. And the issue is we always talk about it's the goal's the problem. My goal was too big. My goal was too ambitious. But the issue, it's not the goals. Goal setting and the goal process of goals isn't the problem. Unfortunately, we are. As humans, we are the problem because we don't like to stick to things. And the reason we don't like to stick to things is because we're curious beings. We want to know and learn and change, and we like variety. Even those that are very structured and very process driven often get to a point where they go, oh God, is this getting, I've got to stop, it's not enough, or I don't have the right time. So it may not be the goal that's the problem. It's all the surrounding things around it that make it hard for us to actually, can you see this screen here? Okay, the presenter window is on, that's not working. Okay, can you not see? Oh, I'm so sorry. This is a great day. This is very rare for us, Kylie. I don't know why the day is doing this. It seems to be, maybe it's Monday, maybe it's, Mondays are really good reason as to why it might be a problem. I could have just been going on and on then for a while then, Janine. Thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate it. Let me see. How are we going now?
Woohoo!
Is it just the audience screen that you can see?
Where do you want to go?
Yay! Okay, perfect. Okay, it is the wrong slide, but at least we're there. So your goals require two things. Where the problem, as I was just talking about, so where the challenge, the reason is because goal setting is part of the thing. It's only a very small piece of it. What we want is clarity and systems. So when we think about what it is we're trying to achieve, we focus on the goal. I want to build a website. I want to have more income to support my child getting a house. I want to be more visible. I want passive income. All those things, we focus on the goal. And the goal becomes this beautiful thing. We visualize it, we think about it, we say, yes, let's do this goal. But then we go, how do we do it? And it's clarity and systems that allow us to actually achieve the goal. So goal setting is actually not just about choosing the goal. That's the first step, but it's actually about creating the actionable steps that allow you to achieve whatever that outcome is for you. So clarity about what it is, being really crystal clear about what your goal looks like, what your big picture reason is. So what's that big thing, your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal that I want to achieve? And then it's about saying, how then, what are the systems and processes and habits and actions I need to take to ensure that I will get there? So goal setting is the intention. I'm going to set a goal. Then I need clarity about where I'm going, and I need systems to help me get there. And so this first question, where do we want to go? Where do you want to go? So this is not just about the website. So that might be a mini goal, passive income, helping your family buy a house. That's the mini goals. I want you to think about right now, and I want you to write down for me, what is your big, beautiful goal? If you're going to close your eyes and imagine yourself 10 years down the track, what's different? Where are you? Are you in the same house, in the same clothes, with the same hair, with the same friends, in the same city? Or are you living in Barcelona at the Hideout Cafe, where I started my company, which is a fabulous cafe, drinking beautiful red wine, eating freshly made avocado dip and corn chips on a Friday evening every Friday? What does your future look like? And it's really important to be really crystal clear. We talk about vision boarding, we talk about envisioning things. But the reality is, if you don't know what it is you want to accomplish, you cannot create a plan to get there. So having absolute clarity about what that looks like is really important. I'm going to come back to that. So often what I'm seeing in the list here is all these beautiful goals. And so I might call that, I think we're going to talk about it as your super goal. So we're going to talk about what a super goal is in a minute, but that's a lot of those things are what we would call a super goal. But that's only, again, half the story. We're breaking this right down. The first step about achieving your goals is having what we like to call a business big picture, or a life big picture, whichever you're doing. If you're doing this for your life or your family or your business, you might have an FBP, an LBP, or a BBP. Try and say that. My partner, who's a stutterer, will not cope with that at all. So business big picture in mind. What is that? And this is the ultimate. This is that future self. This is the motivation. This is the why. This is the thing that's making you go, I'm getting up in the morning because that's what I want. And when I first did this, I thought, I want to build an empire. I want to build a beautiful business. I want to support. I want to create impact. I want to do all those things. But when we actually break it down, that BBP is actually two parts. It's your super goal and your ultimate why. And each of those continue to change because those two things build a part of our BPP. It's not the only thing. And this is where goal setting is going to change. It's a big change from what I did last year. So we're going to break that down. So the first super goal is what you want to achieve in the next 3, 6, 12 months, even 5 years, right? So that's the goal that you're working toward. Everybody has a goal. The advantage of doing it this way, that goal can keep changing. So this is this kind of super goal that I'm driving my current focus on. So what am I doing in the next 3, 6, 12 months? For me, my super goal right now is creating an online version of Empire Builders. I love my 3-day mastermind immersion, but I also know we have kids and families and commitments and travel restrictions, or people don't want to travel, or it's costly to travel. So I'm creating our Empire Builder 3-day workshop as an online program. So that is my current super goal. I'm invested and focused on building that. So I want to get that online. And I think, okay, well, why do I want to achieve that? What is my ultimate why? Why do I want to achieve that goal? Well, I want to achieve that goal because then I can reach more people. But why do I want to reach more people? Well, if I want to reach more people, I can create more impact. Why do I want to create more impact? Because the greater impact I can make, it also impacts my security and safety, financial, for my family. But why is that important? Because ultimately, when I work this out and I work through those whys, my big picture business goal is to be able to travel 3 months a year with my family and have my business set up and able to run and be effective and service the community while I get to travel for 3 months a year. So my future state for me is a successful business, continuing to grow, elephant in the room, but being able to travel between 2 and 3 months a year and not having to worry about the business. So my super goal is linked to that big picture goal, which is the opportunity to travel. So I need to have some online income. Why is it important that I achieve that goal? Because by doing that little piece in the middle, it gives me freedom, and freedom is one more step towards that big picture goal. So really what we're doing is we're breaking down so this super goal can keep changing, but every one of the super goals you might create, look to that bigger picture. So the bigger picture is that vision, it's that wonder, it's that this is what I want to be, this is how I want to feel, this is how I want my environment to look and feel like in the future. And to get there, we need little super goals along the way, and we have a common why. So the thing that changes generally is that super goal. Does that make sense to everyone? Hoping that's making sense, because I said I can't see anyone on the screen at the moment, unfortunately. So let's actually go through this. So let's talk about identifying the goal. So on a piece of paper, actually, we might just leave this piece here. On a piece of paper, I want you to write down what that goal is. So I actually want you to do this 3 layers of this. I want you to do one super goal, and I want you to write your ultimate why. Then I want you to do another super goal and see if that ultimate why or that why still fits to that super goal. And then I want you to do it a third time. So I want 3 goals listed down. So I know we've got there that we've got passive income from my health and wellness business. Well, that's cool. So passive income is your goal. Is that your short-term goal or your big goal? Is that your long-term plan? Is that I'm going to sit back and have 100 grand sitting in, coming in every year while I just chill out and be able to do that from now and keep going? But then I would say to you, if that's your goal, why is that important? Why is passive income important? So you might say 50 to 100K passive income gives me an opportunity to do more things with my family. Well, why is that important? Because I want to have work-life balance. Well, why is that important? So we want to keep going through this process. And as we do those first two things a couple of times, what we kind of keep resonating is, what is that big picture? And it's that ultimate why. The 5th time you do that why statement, that becomes your big picture goal. So for me, online training program, create more impact. Why is that important? I get to service more people. Why is that important? It creates flexibility for me because I'm serving people online and not with me. Why is that important? Because flexibility gives me freedom. I can travel and see the world while still making sure I have an income. And then I keep going down. I realize for me, it's freedom. Freedom is my big picture goal. It's not the 3 months. The 3 months away is wonderful, but that comes because I have freedom. So for me, my vision of my business, or my vision of my big picture goal, is actually freedom. It actually has nothing to do with revenue, but revenue allows me to have freedom. So this is why it's a little bit kind of tricky, but you can see how your super goal and your why allow you to identify what it is you really want. And it may be a financial goal. If it's a personal goal, it may be around a beautiful home. It may be around what you can do for your family. It may be about your health and well-being. But that final goal always links back to these first 2 pieces. And the key piece here is your super goal will keep changing as you keep changing and growing. So as you get better at, so for example, it might be, I want to get better at sales. That's your short-term goal. Why is getting better at sales great? Because it will actually help you improve your conversation and your close rate with your clients. Why is that important? Because if I get more, if I improve my sales process, then I get more close rates. I can actually spend more time with clients and less time selling. And why is that important? Why is that important? Because then I have freedom. So you can actually keep linking it back to that business goal. Can I just get somebody in the chat for me to let me know whether or not you've thought about what your super goal is and what your ultimate why is? And maybe you could share that in your chat with what that looks like for you. So what might be your super goal and your ultimate why? So when anyone brave enough to share? Kylie, what's yours? I'm going to put on the spot.
Mine is, I just wrote here, my main one is to grow my Shine membership, which I launched last year, but only a soft launch. So I'm about to, in the next couple of weeks, go for a big launch.
Love that. So let's work through. So you want to do a full launch within the next month of Shine. So why do you want to achieve that goal?
Because it is, okay, the real reason is because every day, without fail, multiple times a day, including Saturdays and Sundays, random people will text me, message me, Instagram message me, everything, just saying, oh, I've heard you're really good at Facebook. Can you fix this? I just need help with this. Can you just do that? Or someone that knows someone that knows someone that knows you said you could help me with this. And so everybody needs a low cost help, really, to jump in so that they can ask their questions and get help. So rather than expecting it free, I wanted to offer a low cost option.
So that's one reason, but now tell me why that's important.
So that they cannot text me, message me, phone me.
Why is that important?
To give me back my sanity.
And why is that important?
So I have better balance in my life.
And why is that important?
Because I am striving for balance. For a second year in a row, my word of the year is balance.
And so why is that important?
So I can play more ukulele.
And why is that important?
Because it gives me joy.
And why is that important?
Because joy, me having joy makes my family happier.
And why is that important?
Happy family, happy life.
And so see how what we've done is we keep asking, because those top questions, they're kind of the first things that come to our mind, right? Financial, time, resources. But when we actually draw it down and drill down to the reason we're doing things. So for Kylie, it's actually to spend time with her family, uninterrupted family time, because family is important. It's a very strong value for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your driver for your business is so if we turn that into a big picture goal, is create offerings that enable you to serve your clients while providing you balance and life with your family.
Very good.
So future state for Kylie is a business that runs itself, but still serves your community in a way that you have become to known to, with great content, flexible, huge amounts of content and value. And you can deliver that through the Shine membership system. And you can serve so many people using that system, but you still get all the time you want and need with your family. So that's why we do it. We're not doing it just for the money. We're not doing it just because I'm sick of those Saturday calls. We're doing it because ultimately the big picture for the business is to have balance with the family.
Yes.
And so this is where we change, we stop halfway through. It's like, I could have stopped Kylie when she said, because I want people to be able to have access to that. I want my Saturdays back. All of those would have been fine as a why, but they're not the ultimate why. And it's the ultimate why that pushes us to understand and identify what that big picture is. So you want to be like that relentless 5-year-old, right? Why? Until you cannot answer anymore. I probably could have taken Kylie a few more whys into that, but we're not going to do that right now. So it's how many whys. So don't just stop at 5. That's why I said there's no number, but just keep asking yourself why until you get to the point where you cannot actually answer it anymore. That is the reason. And that's how I got to freedom. Freedom and flexibility. That's how I got my big picture goal. So my goal for my business is to provide freedom. Freedom for me, freedom for my clients, freedom for my family, all of those things, right? And it means different things to each of those segments. But the goal is the same. So for Janine, you've written, so increase your client base and increase revenue And so to travel more with family, flexibility, freedom, exactly. So I love that, Janine. So the goal, your big business picture, is to set up a business that allows you to have the freedom and flexibility to run the business how you want to run it. And having increased client base as your first super goal is one of those ways to do it. So increase client base, but then once you got that, you get your maximum client base you need. It might be 50, might be 100 every year. Then you'll have a new goal. So it might be increasing the value of each of those clients. It might be providing another option or another offering that serves a different segment so that you can continue to increase that opportunity to travel. Because once you start traveling and you start traveling business class and then you want to travel first class, and now you keep needing to change your goals. So it's about constantly reviewing that super goal to ensure that we meet that big picture goal. And this process, although really simple to look at, can take you down a complete rabbit hole. You may end up finding something about the why that you didn't even realize. And it's almost aligned with, it's almost a bit of a value realignment. It's also a conversation about your personal motivation, but it's also looking at what are those individual goals. So I did ask you to write down 3 super goals. And the reason I did that is because often we're battling multiple goals at the same time. We just don't realize it. And one of the clear tricks I said at the start about clarity is if you list all the goals that are in your head, and I just got you to do 3, and I'm sure some of you could have probably had 10. I know I could have easily done 10. What happens is we try to achieve all of them at the same time. But the reality is we can't hold that information really successfully in our head at all times. So when we're focusing on one, it allows us to be really, my favorite word from Robin Sharma is monomaniacally focused. We become monomaniacally focused on achieving that goal. And when we start with that goal, we work through it. We put all the systems and habits in place. We know we're on our way to achieving that goal. Now we can go back and look at the next goal. So let's talk about very specific goal identification. So this is recapping what we just talked about. What are you trying to achieve in this moment? List all those things out. That's one piece. Then we want to talk about, what do you want your business to look like or to be? So these are slightly different questions, the same questions, but a slightly different answer. What are the biggest changes you might want to see? Or how will these changes impact the business? So answering these 4 questions, what do I want to achieve? What do I want my business or my life to look like, to be? How do I want that to, show up in the world? What are the changes? What's different now to then? Why do I think it's a challenge? Why is it a goal? Why can't I just get it tomorrow? Because what's the difference? Well, from here, talk about Janine. Well, at the moment, Janine might be able to travel once a year for a family, but she wants to be able to travel 5 times a year for a family. So the difference is very clear. I want to be able to travel every 2 months, not every 12 months. How will they impact your business or your family? By achieving that goal and having that life or business that you see or want, how will it impact you? How will it impact the way you live, the way you work, the way your clients interact with you? So through this piece, I want you to look at all those words you've put down and identify some of the big goals that are going to help you achieve those extra pieces. So I want to achieve, as a goal, my online course. That's definitely one of them. The second piece we're doing is a goal that we're almost on our way towards at the moment, almost ready to launch, is running our Empire Business 2 for those who've already been to Empire Business 1. We're making sure we secure enough clients to run 4 Empire Business Builders a year. So we have lots of little goals, but we have to prioritize those goals because, again, we can't all hold those goals in our head and manage them all at the same time. So we have to prioritize that. So the first thing, really clear, writing down the goals that you have. Now, I want you to pick one of those. I want you to go back to that first question around imagine your future. What's your business goal? And it's not BPP, it's BPP. See, even spell mistakes. My goal in life is not to have spelling mistakes on my slide decks, but that's never going to happen. So imagine your future. So my future is freedom. I'm going to use my example because I figure it's safe for me to put myself through the ringer, right? I imagine this opportunity to have freedom to travel, to work where I want to work. And so now what I want to do, that the first goal I want to focus on is my Empire Builders online course. So we're halfway through the development of that. But just imagine, I had no idea how to create an online course. How do you do that? How do you even create an online course? I don't really know the technology to use. I don't know how to structure a program. So we put our focus in all the things we don't know. So the key piece here when you're setting your goals is you want to actually think about the future state, not the current state. So I want you to now describe, so take one of those 3 goals that you've just written down, and I want you to start thinking about what you did do. Change your mindset, because the key to achieving your goals is bridging the gap between what we don't know and what we think we don't know. And this is the key, right? My favorite line: how do you make $1 million business? You post on socials today once, and then tomorrow again, and then tomorrow again, and then the next time 3 or 4 times, and the next time 4 or 5 times. And you keep going until you actually create a following. And then that following creates it, and so on and so on. But to know that, we work backwards. So, how do I get my Empire Builders online? Well, I'm imagining all 30 of you on the call are already enrolled in my course. So, what's the last thing that I did? I let you enroll. So, I have a page, all my courses up there. We've launched the program, and you've all gone in and purchased the program. Woo! That's amazing. So, what's the thing that I did before then? We're working backwards down the rung of the ladder. What did we do before then? Well, before then, I would have had to promote it because I had to tell people about the course. Well, what did I do to promote it? Well, I put it on social media. I talked about it on our podcast. I talked about it in my workshops. I sent emails to clients. So now I've got socials and emails. Well, what did I need to do before that? Well, I needed to design the course, didn't I? So what was the things that I needed to design? Well, the last thing that I would have designed would be the workbook. So we did the workbook, and then the thing before that would have been actually design each of the modules of the program. And so what happens is we're working backwards from a logical perspective, tricking our brain to think we know what we're doing. And all of those things, I've never done an online course before, but I've worked back thinking, well, what would I need to have done to get to that state where you will buy a program? And I just worked back. And what happens is your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. So this is that positive procrastination and wonder I talked about. What we're doing is we're actually thinking about what we have done. We're tricking our brain to say, you know what to do. Let's just list them. Let's just think big wonder and write down all the things we need to do. And at the end of this, we've got a list of steps starting at the very bottom of what we need to do. So what is the first thing that I needed to do to get my course online? I needed to buy an online platform. Because then I had to set the intention and desire to do that. That's the first thing. And then I said, I need to buy an online platform. So I probably did some research. So now all of a sudden I can now rebuild, right? But I only did that because I worked backwards. What are all the things? I didn't start with the online platform. I finished with the online platform in my rung list. So now I have my list of actions and everything that I need to do. Does that make sense to everyone? I'm hoping you're nodding along here. Kylie, help me out. Are we getting some nods, some thumbs up maybe?
Yes, absolutely.
So does that make sense to everyone? Because what we're doing is we're tricking our brain into knowing what we can do. The same way when you learn to ride a bike, I can't do it. Oh my gosh, I can do it. But imagine you got on that bike and said, I know how to. I've seen people pedal. The last thing I need to do is hands up, feet on the pedals, pedal. So you trick your brain to knowing how to do it. That's really how we learn. Your brain learns how to do it as we go. So we're working down, so we're bridging that gap between what we don't know and what we know to create and imagine what we would have done. And so we start at the top of the ladder and work back. And I do this, when I do this for my goals, I do this a couple of times. So I'll go through it once and then I go, cool. And then I'll go through again because we often do the big rungs and we've skipped some along the way. And by doing this, you might have a list of 100 things. You might have a list of 10 things. You might have a list of 50 things, depending on the complexity of your goal or how far out the goal is or how much time you have to do it, is the number of rungs on your ladder. But now what you have is a really clear action list of what to do to reach that goal. So we've bridged that. How do I do it? And that's the biggest one. How do I get that? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And that's really what we're doing here. So now that we've identified the goal, we've listed all the steps that we need to take. I want you to think about that list you have and what are the resources that you needed. So what resources, again, did you need? To launch the program, I needed somewhere to make sure it had a payment process. I needed a web page. I needed maybe a landing page for that. And then what else did I need? Well, I also needed the workbooks, or I then needed some ad content. So I can list all the things against my rungs that I needed to do. And so now what I have is my list of actions and all the resources, whether it's time, whether it's things, whether it's people, to actually go through and see what I need to do. So, first thing is your list of tasks. The next things are the resources that support that. And when you do that, the third thing is we start to look at the habits, which we're going to talk a little bit about in a moment. So, list of activities and the resources. So I want you to write that down if you haven't already. Yes, exactly, Janine. We're beginning with the end in mind. We are channeling Stephen Covey's view of the world. We already imagine ourselves there. We're not saying, when will I get there? Because how many times have you thought about, oh my gosh, when will I feel like that? When will I feel happy? When will my business become that? My goal is my business to be really successful, but I'm just not getting there. It's just not working. We sit in this space and this mindset of it's not working. I don't know, because we're trained to do that because we don't like uncertainty. So something that's difficult, something that's new, something that's challenging, our brain tricks us to tell us, don't do it. It's too hard, because it wants you to stay safe. So by telling our brain, we've already done it, we're already there, I can see it, I can feel it, I can taste it, my brain starts to behave in that way. It starts to behave like we're already there. And that's what that process that you just went through did. And that works for everything. It can be whether you want to change your eating habits, whether you want to stop drinking as much champagne as Jenny does, whether you want to, go on a holiday at the end of the year. What are the things that you needed to do to enable that to happen? Now, I'm sure all of you have a very big list of things that you want to do. And I asked you to look at lots of different goals. So the key thing here now is to focus. So looking at your list, and again, depends on your timing, whether it's a month, a year, a quarter, or next week that your goal was for. I want you to actually really look at that list of activities, remembering what the goal was. I want you to really look, yes, very much. Risk avoidance is safety, Janine, but we're trying to change that in you a little bit to show you that risk aversion is something that just sits in our head. So now we have your list of activities that you meet that goal. You've got the list of the things that you need for that goal, so you can do the activities to reach your goal. So now I want you to have a look at that. Sit back and say, how important is it for you to reach that goal? And how important is it then for you to do each one of those activities and get those resources in place? And this is the piece where most people fail with goals, is we don't take the time to say how important it is to us. So for that goal, for me, for Empire Builders, it's a 9 out of 10 importance. It is so important, right? It is super, super important for me to get it done. What would make it a 10 out of 10? For me to have a clear diary at the moment and no other clients on the books, and that would be a 10 out of 10 importance. But unfortunately, I've still got other clients to service. I've still got other parts of the business to manage, but it's a 9 out of 10. So it's super important for me to get this Empire Builders online. So if it's so important, I ask, why is it important? Then this is that motivation piece. It links back to that ultimate why. Why is it so important? Well, I know if I get this course online, I can service more people, and I go through my list of ultimate whys again. It's so critically important. If you can't answer why it's important, then it's the wrong goal at the wrong time or the wrong place. So you need to really, really examine this. And then I sit back and go, well, what will stop me from achieving my goal? And you know what? The only thing that will stop me achieving my Empire Builders online is me. I have the resources, got an amazing team supporting me. I have MemberVault, which we've purchased to use for it. I have the content. I have the systems. I have the workbooks in some form of draft. So I have all the knowledge to do it. So the only thing stopping me doing it is me. And for many people, that's the challenge, right? We have to recognize that we are the problem. So now I say, well, and then I go back to the top. How important is it for me to do it? Really important. So what will stop me doing it? Time. Okay. So what do I need to do? I need to block out time in my diary to write the workbooks and write the content and record the videos so I can do that. And if it's super important, I will allocate that into my diary. And we'll talk a little bit about how we do that in a minute. But see how we're constantly going, it feels like a little bit of a loop, but by doing this conversation, it's allowing us to really affirm. And this has only taken me, 5 or 10 minutes to talk you through this process. But this is what you need to start the goal setting process, or even achieving that next level of growth in your business. Goal setting could be a version for growth in your business. How do we get to the next sales target? How do I employ another staff member? How do I increase my client base? All these activities relate to this same process. And ultimately, what will stop me from doing it is bad habits or good habits, if you like. So, the habits that I create are the things that will support me achieving my goal. So, habits are the systems that support us achieving our goals. So, if you imagine brushing your teeth in the morning, you brush your teeth in the morning, probably without even thinking about it. You get up, we go to the bathroom and brush your teeth. That's what most people do every morning when they get up. Why do we do that? Because we've created a system and a habit that we don't even think about anymore. It's become unconscious. And what's the goal? What's the reason we brush our teeth in the morning? So we can have really good teeth when we get old. Why is that important? Because I still want to chew steak when I'm 80, right? I'm doing it because I want good health. I want good well-being. So my teeth support that. So I need to brush my teeth once or twice or 3 times a day, depending on who you are, right? So the habits are the systems that support our goals. And as I said, they're just systems and we use them every day. We're actually all creatures of habit. I want you to imagine what you did coming to this webinar today. Was there a particular routine that you did? Did you go and make a cup of tea first in your favorite cup, grab a glass of water, put it on your table, set your computer up just so, make sure the lights are on and the door was shut, put the dogs out, all those things that you did to get you in this chair today? They're systems and habits that you've created. And you're probably thinking about it. If you think about it, you probably do those same things every day. For me, it's a bottle of sparkling water and a Coke no sugar because we're here for a couple of hours. So a little bit of caffeine and a little bit of fake sugar and then some sparkling water at the end. So that's my habit. I do it. I don't even think about it. It's just what I get. And we break it down. Why is that important to me? Because it helps me feel a little pick me up, but also makes me nourished and makes me feel refreshed. So our habits support our daily actions and help us move towards our goal. So when we looked at that list of the things that you needed to do and the resources, we actually need to look at now the systems and habits that you need to support them. So the habit for you might be, if you're, I'm going to use my example, say we're building this course, my habit that I need to create in order to get this done by, let's pick a date, let's say the 14th of February, Valentine's Day. So if I want my course launched on Valentine's Day, then that means I've now got 16 days total. Now, if I don't want to work the weekends, I've got 12 days between now and the day the program needs to be launched. I've got 6 modules. I know that already. And I want 4 courses in each. It's 24 modules I need to write. So I need to understand, am I actually going to be able to write 24 pieces of content and videos and workbooks between now and 12 days? Probably not. So then I have to look at what my time is. So I have to be realistic around that, right? But then if I said, I actually only need to do 6 more because I've done a lot of them already. So I only need to do 6 more. So do I have the time and what is my habit? I'm going to put in my diary 30 minutes every day to write content for my program and 30 minutes every day to record my video. So if I set that every day and create the habit around it, I'm going to what we call stack. So I'm going to put my writing of my content and my recording together because that's going to be more efficient, isn't it? As soon as I finish writing it, I record it. I write it, I record it, as opposed to I write it, I'll come back later and record it. But then it's out of our mind. I don't think about it. Other things get busy and I've lost that momentum. So I'm going to create connection between writing the content and recording it and popping them together. And now I block 1 hour a day for the next 12 days. And I think, how much can I achieve from that? And that's doable. That's achievable. I have the resources I need, which is an hour a day in my diary. I have my laptop, my speaker, and my mic. I've got great camera and lighting. So I have everything that I need. Now I just need to put in place the habits that I need. And so what are those systems? What's going to derail me? I won't block my calendar out. So what can I do to support that? I'm going to get an accountability buddy. I'm going to tell Helena or Macy or Kelsey that they're going to jump on with me for that hour every day and say, Jenny, how's the content going? Let's write it. Let's get it done. And then when I record it, I'm going to be talking to them when I record, because then it will feel more like a conversation and not so much like a lecture. So that will be a really good way for me to get my job done. So what I'm doing is creating systems and processes that will support each other to help me get my goal. And if I do it every day and regularly, that becomes my habit. And what happens after 12 days of that? I probably get into the habit of having that hour blocked a day. So all of a sudden, I'm creating video content in an hour every day that I can use for my next program or my next course, because I've now created the habit that can continue on. I'm used to it. I'm comfortable with it. The team know it's happening. I know it's happening. and I've blocked it into my diary. So we're creating systems and processes that are supporting the productivity and the delivery of our outcomes. So I'm hoping that's resonating. So it's really around what are those systems and habits that look like. But we also know that habits are hard. Things get in the way. Oh, look, I'll do it tomorrow, but oh no, I've got a client on Wednesday. I've got to drive down the Gold Coast. So that hour's now gone, so I break my cycle. And then I have to start again because we're all also, we like flexibility, we like responding to things, and we like shiny things as humans in most cases. And if something better comes along, I'll just say I'll do it later. You've all been on a diet, you've all been on an exercise regime where this has happened. I won't go to gym today. I'm a little tired. But what happens? You get out of the habit. And so it's how do we create those systems and support structures around it? So choosing the time of the day that's right, choosing the right people, or choosing the right length of time to deliver it. And maybe I need 6 weeks and do one video a week rather than one video a day. And that's probably more realistic. And that's what we've been doing is one video a week. Because I know myself, I can't sustain 5 days in a row forever because I've got other things going on. I travel and I've got work. So I know though 1 hour a week for videos is something that I can sustain. I'm hoping that makes sense to everybody. So we're really just building this process of habit. But I've got a trick. This is we're going to do a little bit of a sprint to try and cut that process out. So habits can be hard to form. So we're going to do what we call a habit sprint. So a habit sprint is really aimed at really unlocking your potential at achieving that goal and your business's potential at achieving its big ultimate final goal. So it's kind of like a high-speed train kind of going along, and then all of a sudden someone's going to give it a turbo boost between 2 stations so we can get there faster and really cement that speed that we're trying to achieve. So really kind of push those habits into place. And it's about creating long-lasting kind of habits. So the way we do that is we say, okay, I need my habit to be able to say today, I'm going to be doing these goals. I'm going to do these videos every week because if I can do them every single day for 1 week or for 2 weeks, 2 weeks is ideal if you've got 14 days or 12 to 14 days to do it. I'm going to keep doing it every day because now it becomes easy. I've created the habit. So for the next 2 weeks, we block out that time just in that time. We don't have to do it forever. But we're saying to ourselves, the next 2 weeks, I'm committing to doing this every single day. Because what I'm doing is then I see progress. And we call this the habit sprint. I've drawn this from a number of other resources and I love this context. So this is used a lot in well-being and in personal habit forming by psychologists. So what we're doing is we're saying my motivation is I want to achieve that goal. My productive habit is 1 hour a day to do this activity. And if I keep doing it, I see progress, which then reinforces my motivation of achieving my goal. And then it reinforces the productive habit. So we come on this little circle. So while it's only done for a couple of weeks, it actually creates the habit that you try to achieve. So it may be that I end up doing an hour a day every day forever because I've created the habit in my system. But if I choose not to do one day, it doesn't derail me completely. It just says, I don't need to do it today. I can get back on the horse tomorrow. It's okay to have a break. But I've created the habit and solidifies those habits for the long term. So I did this originally. Let's not use the video. I did this originally using the Eisenhower matrix. So those who've been playing with us for a while knows that we've created the Do First matrix. And I know Kylie talks about the Eisenhower matrix in her pre-start workshop that she does every year for her amazing clients. And so the Eisenhower matrix or our Do First matrix is really just a habit of time management. And I do that every single day. When I first did it, I did it weekly. And then I'd occasionally forget. And then I said, okay, I'm going to do it daily. And I did it daily for over a month. And so what it did, it created a habit for me to write down what the things I need to do today, the things I need to schedule, the things I need to delegate, and the stuff I just need to get rid of and I just need to no longer do. And that habit that we created, and we're going to share the link for the Do First at the end of this if you haven't seen it yet, but the Do First model just really allowed me to reinforce those activities. Now I do it in my brain. I don't even need to write it down because I can actually segment it in my head. I do the scheduling, I do the delegate, and then that's all that's left in my diary is actually the stuff that I need to do for that day or that week. And so by creating that habit and starting with the process of writing down my list of things I needed to do, dividing them between things that I need to do today that are urgent and important, things that are urgent but not important so that I can schedule them for later, things that are that aren't urgent but important, so I send them to So not urgent or not important. So I send them to be delegated, and the things that I get rid of. So those activities that we worked through created a habit in me, and it's created habit in many of my clients who now use that do first matrix every day to create because that response they want, which is time management and planning, and it de-stresses, and I don't worry about stuff anymore. Why? Because I'm motivated by being planful and having free time. My productive habit of being the do first matrix every day creates progress on my tasks and my goals because they're scheduled in my diary. The team are working productively. So then it reinforces the motivation. So the habit sprint is creating good behaviors for the rest of your life. And the good thing and the amazing thing about this is that you might do this for just 3 to 5 minutes. Let's rephrase, for example. I'm going to find one of the goals that someone's had in here. So increasing membership hub to your herbology group to 50 members, says Chris Smith. Well, great goal, Chris. So you might decide, I'm going to spend 5 minutes a day working towards that goal, just 5 minutes. So for 5 minutes each day, you're going to do one activity or two activities that will focus you to boost your membership. So you might have decided when you did your list that may have been an email out. So mailing out to people who are in your database saying, come and join my group. It might be emailing previous clients. It might be doing one extra social post that day to boost into another group. But you only need to spend 5 minutes. But if you do that 5 minutes every day and you start to see an increase, you might decide, well, actually, I can commit 10 minutes a day or 7 minutes a day or 13 minutes a day. So you can either choose action-focused habits or you can choose time-based habits that says I spend X amount of time every day working on this activity or this action or this goal. And I like the time limited stuff, particularly when I'm reading. I forget to read if I'm too busy. So I like to have 20 to 30 minutes in the morning where I read. Now that could be reading something on an article on my phone. It could be reading a physical book. It could be listening to an Audible. But whatever it might be, I give myself that time. So I know a minimum of 20 minutes. If I go over, then I've exceeded my goal for the day. But my goal was 20 minutes. Going 18 minutes, not enough. Needs to hit that 20. So I like a time limited amount because then you might be really productive. And Chris, you might end up having 13 minutes a day and you might end up writing 3 emails and posting them into lots of different mailing lists for you that boost your membership sooner. That gets excited, that gets you motivated. So you do it again the next day. And all of a sudden your 50 members becomes 250 because you're creating the habit, focusing on those behaviors that you need, which are the actions to achieve your goal, which is 50 plus members in your group. So see how these systems just break down and make what can seem overwhelming. I know when I started working with Kylie 5 or 6 years ago, getting any followers or increased numbers on Instagram or Facebook seemed incredibly daunting. But Kylie works in this way. She's going to talk with a digital marketing strategy soon around how that might be. But it's looking at saying, what are the things we need to do every day, every other day, or for 5 to 10 minutes a day that's moving you towards those goals. And if you've got those goals listed, your why and your motivation is clearly outlined. You know what your future state of your business is going to look like. Everything we do each day works towards those activities. So that's the habit sprint. So we do this for short term to build it. And remember, I want to remind you that when you joined this workshop today or when you started your business, you did it because you wanted to create some form of change. You wanted to do things differently, or you wanted to create abundance for your family or financial freedom, or you wanted to travel, whatever that incredible ambition you had, that's what we're trying to tap into. And sometimes it's easy to forget what that ambition was when we're in the grind of the daily business. I call it the messy middle, right? When we're in that messy middle of the business. So these little tips and hacks, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, an hour that you create a habit for, helps you remind you and reaffirms what you were in business for and what you're trying to achieve. But it starts with that big picture, your big picture in mind. That's the key that we're always driving to. So if you need to have that as a vision board, if you need to have that on your wall that you look at and you spend 3 minutes a day just going, that is me, I'm already there. That might be what you need to do as your habit, just to remind yourself that you are in the right place, doing the right thing that you need to do to achieve your goals. And it's really important because there's so much that your mind does to really derail all of those things. So a couple of supporting activities for your positive habits that we talked about. So one, when you work on it every day, it creates the right habit. So prioritizing those actions with the do first matrix is a really simple and quick way to enable you to actually start building the right muscles around time management or action. Stacking your goals, I mentioned that earlier. So stacking your goals where I say I'm going to do the content and the video together because I'm on a roll and it reduces the amount of time I need to spend there. Or it might be if you need to drink more water, it might be every time you get a glass of Coke, no sugar, you have a glass of water and you put them together. You won't drink water on its own, but you might drink it if you're having an apple at the same time or a sandwich for lunch. So what are the habits that you're stacking? And visual cues are really great. I always have a water bottle on my desk because I like to drink, 8 to 12 glasses of water a day. So I always have a water bottle on my desk. So that triggers to me, oh, my water bottle's empty. I need to go refill it and have my glass of water. So that's for a visual cue for me. My Remarkable notebook has my to-do list every day in it. My Eisenhower Matrix I do every morning. That's in my workbook. So that's always in front of me. So there's my visual cue about what I need to do. And of course, I've got my Outlook diary, which is always open, so I know what's coming up next. So there's lots of different ways that you can develop your goals. But the key thing about remembering this is one, starting at the top of the rung and reminding yourself what you've already done. Visualize what you've already achieved and write those actions down. That creates your action list towards your goal. Make sure you have the right resources and support, and you can reach out and let us know if you need anything to do that. Pop in the chat or reach out to us after to say, hey, can we book a quick 30-minute call to have a chat about what that might look like? And then we go forward, and then we do that on a daily basis and create those habits. One of my favorite books, if you haven't read it, is Atomic Habits by James Clear. He talks about some of these strategies. I talk about them a slightly different way to he. But James Clear, probably the master of habits, is talking about how to create tiny habits to make big results. But I love this quote for him, that goals are useful for direction setting. The goal is the direction, right? Remember that. Systems, and I call them habits, are what you actually make progress with. So it's actually, the goal is just the vision. It's what you do to get there that actually creates the change that you're trying to do. So I'm almost finished with my bit. A couple of questions I wanted to ask before we go through. Actually, I might just have a quick pause, and if anyone has any questions that they might like to ask about any of those processes, because there's a fair bit we've just gone through. Vanamala, what about you? Do you have a question? I thought you looked like you were going to ask a question. No, that's all right if you don't. Anyone
Look,
else?
it was actually really hard to take in. Like there was so much information, and I'm really thrilled about it too. And then I'm sitting there and thinking, okay, so where do I start now? Because I always, for example, I know I need people who work for me to run certain things in my business. And I always think I cannot do that because of finances.
So that's a really great one. So there's two parts to that, if I may share with you. Is that all right, Vanamala?
Yeah.
So one thing is that's a limiting belief that you have for yourself about that it's expensive. So for those who know me, money for me is just energy, right? It's just money that flows in and out. When I charge out as a corporate consultant, I'm going to talk corporate world because we're not talking corporate today, so it's a good separation. So when I started coaching originally and running corporate models, people used to say to me, "Oh, Jenny, you're too expensive," or "You need to make sure that you price yourself really competitively." And then I thought about that and I said, you know what? But I have knowledge in the way that I work that no one else has. So I'm actually going to price myself at the higher end. So I charge between $400 and $600 an hour when I charge out at corporate, right? So we're at the top end of the range for most of the corporate stuff that we do. And that's a bulk. So that's like 3 to 4 days at a time in most cases. So what I learned from that, though, is that I was trying to do everything early on. And Kylie will remember this before the incredible Macy and Kelsey came and joined us, and now Helena. So I was like, I can do it all. I can charge a ridiculous amount of money for consulting and do amazing work over there, but I can also do my socials, and I can also do my bookkeeping, and I can also do all these other things. What do you think happened?
Collapse.
Constantly burning. I'm on that cycle of the high of the rush of doing it all, and then there's the collapse, and then there's a high and the collapse. And we love that because if you're an energizer buddy like me, you kind of get hooked on that kind of adrenaline rush. But what I realized, though, it was making me incredibly unhappy and started me to think, why am I on this rabbit hole? Why am I doing this? Go back to work for someone else. And then I was like, what are you doing? All those thoughts are ridiculous. I love being the owner of the business. I love running my company. So I recognize there are certain things that when I look at the cost benefit, I can hire someone else to do and support me and they can do it better than me. They're focused on it, whether it's 10 hours, 20 hours, or a full-time virtual assistant or assistant in person for you. Having someone there, the cost benefit for me was phenomenal. And as soon as Macy joined the company, I'm pretty sure we had our first spike in growth. And I don't think that was coincidental. That was because I was no longer worried about the little things, stuff that did. This is why I love the Eisenhower Matrix. If I'm delegating stuff repeatedly in the Eisenhower Matrix at the bottom half of that list, it's telling me I should not be doing those things. So by giving them to someone else, I'm trying, the cost is lower, but even if the cost was the same as you, their ability to deliver those things at a higher productivity level, because they're focused, monomaniacally focused on those things. They're not trying to juggle 15 things in their brain at once and do it inefficiently, which is what will happen to you if you keep that way. So one is breaking that idea that it's a mindset that says, I can't afford it. We don't like that word, do we, Kylie?
No.
You can afford it. It's about you recognizing your value and where it's best spent, identifying those things that anybody could do. They don't have to be the amazing Vanamala. They can be someone else, and giving those things to that person. And you'll actually find your business will grow, so that your cash flow will increase, your clientele will increase, your value, your overall business value will increase, and eventually you'll start to realize that discussion around is it worth it won't even exist in your head anymore.
Yeah, I think I'm exactly there. Like I'm juggling so many things because I do it all. And then
but what does
I really want to do, I
well?
don't have time.
I can do everything well. I'll tell everybody I'm amazing at everything. Isn't that what we like to say? We can do it all. We're amazing. The reality is, though, we don't have to. That's the thing we have to get into our head. We don't have to do it all.
Yeah.
It's not that you can't or you shouldn't. It's we don't have to. So the things you don't have to do you need to post your socials, or can you get Macy and Kelsey, the impact that they've had on our socials? They do reels. I don't even like reels, but they're amazing at doing them for me. And you know why I have reels now? Because Kelsey does reels for me. But beforehand, I was like, I don't need them. I don't want to do them. But now that I don't think about it, I don't have to worry about it. We're getting way better engagement than we have ever had because we have cool reels and stories and amazing social posts that are done by my team, because that's what they specialize in and that's what they're amazing at, right? And me doing it is actually just robbing them of showing us their creativity, right?
Yeah. So
change that mindset is how I would say that.
Definitely.
Mindset, unfortunately, is the key to everything. That's the whole unlocking thing, right? So before I kind of hand over to Kylie, if there's any other questions, I just wanted to share two very quick things with you before I pass over. Now I've just got to find where everything is. In the break, we'll try and work out what's happening with all my computer. Is that I mentioned earlier that Empire Builder. So we run a program called Empire Builders. We talk about habits and goal setting a great deal. I think Kerry Tully's on the course and has been to a number of them. And we spend a lot of time talking about habits and creating the right structures and the right systems for your business. But Empire Builders is a 3-day immersive program that basically helps you build your business, whether you're brand new, whether you're growing, or whether you're in kind of even the at the other end of the business, looking at ways that you can close out your business to sell. So we look at basically helping you ensure that you can, understand how to run your business successfully the way that you want, develop your authority in the business and really elevate your brand, talk about the offers and the pricing that you do, increase your sales, get more time back for those foundations you need for success. So our next one is running 23rd to 25th of February. We always offer a special price for these. So if anyone is interested in coming to that particular event, the price isn't even on the website yet because I wanted to launch it here. We have a very special 20% off that price. So if anyone would like to come along and join our Empire Builders, reach out to our team in the chat or after on our socials, and we will send you a special discount code for 20% off 23rd to 25th Empire Builders workshop. It is a phenomenal event. Kylie came to our very first one. I think our very first one or second one. We've put about, 35 people through the program now in the last couple of years, and we're seeing growth in their businesses. And that's what we want to see. Growth and change and expansion, not only in the way they work, but how they approach their business. One of the best success stories actually I have, which is possibly not a success story, is one of the amazing clients who came through and realized that through doing the program, where she should be focusing her time. In fact, it wasn't on building a business. It was actually on focusing on her hobby and getting a full-time job or a part-time job, I think, at the time she was looking at, because that was actually where she wanted to spend her time. So the clarity that you get through this program is phenomenal. So that's 23rd to 25th of February. If anyone is interested, feel free to reach out. We'll jump on a call and have a chat and tell you a little bit more about it. QR code will take you there. But most importantly, I would love you to connect with us. The favorite things we like to play with are Facebook and Instagram. So please reach out on either of those if you haven't. It's at Elephant in the Room AU for both of those. Reach out, become part of our group, become a network and see what we're doing. And that Do First checklist, which is my version of the Eisenhower Matrix, is also on the QR code there. So if you haven't seen that, where have you been? But download that, and really I encourage you to start using that. And if that's the only habit you build today, that's going to be a really productive one for your business and really going to be a game changer for how you operate and run your business going forward. But thank you very much. I think that's all my slides, although my screen has now decided to freeze because, you know, we're in a technological hell here today. There we go. So thank you very much for joining us. It's actually been a pleasure chatting to you guys. It's nice to see so many new faces on the call. And I'm going to sit back, relax, and enjoy Kylie's session unless anyone has any other questions. Miss Kylie.
What I'd love everyone to do is to jump into the chat and let us know your aha moment from Jenny's session, because I've got plenty of moments that always come to me. There's always something new when Jenny's talking. And I just want to mention that Empire Builders, because I've done it a few times now. I've also been a presenter at it as well. And it's just a complete game changer. I put a little note in the chat, Jenny, that Ash is also here, who has been Empire Builders, and I know everyone that goes to it, just you get so immersed in it. It's day and night of your business being broken down and built back up, and it's just extraordinary. So I can't recommend it highly enough.
Thanks, Kylie.
Check out some of your aha moments though, Jenny. There's one. Oh, Ash might like to talk about your Empire Builders and her experience.
Hey, gorgeous girl.
Hello, love bug. I absolutely loved it, and it came at a time where I was going through some personal stuff, and just those 3 days away, Jenny just empowers you and builds you up and allows you to see yourself as an individual as well as your business in a different light, which gives you purpose and drive to become more than what you think that you can. And you know, a lot of, I think as women, we, like Jenny was saying before about charging enough or not enough, Jenny really helped me see where I wasn't charging enough, and you know, I was giving so much value but I wasn't getting any in return, which also created that that fatigue, you know.
Yeah.
So I got so much out of those 3 days, so thanks, Jen.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. It's really kind.
One thing I'd like to mention about money, and Jenny, you might want to put the link in to it as well, because Jeff's asking something there. So maybe the link as well as that QR code that everybody could scan. One thing I want to say, and it was Vanamala actually that said about money, and I think it's so relevant for everybody all the time. And I want to say that on Saturday, Merlin and I celebrated our 4th anniversary of working together. And what's so interesting about that is, yay, Merlin, I know, but what was so interesting is that I was in an absolute panic for months leading up to her coming to work with me, because I didn't think that I could afford it. I knew I couldn't afford not to, but I thought, how on earth am I going to do it? And the agency that I was with, that trains the VA for what you need and all that kind of stuff, I said to her, I can only have her part-time. And she said, no, you need to go full-time, because otherwise the other part-time bits will go to someone else and blah, blah, blah. And so eventually I jumped in and went, okay, full-time. And I was in such a panic about how can I afford this? And now we have 8 in the team. So, and that's, you know, in 4 years. So that's the thing for everyone to remember, that you cannot grow if you're growing on your own, because then all those extra things that you need to be able to grow, you need to pass those on to people. That's
Very much so.
from my experience anyway. So That doesn't, you can get someone that works with you 2 hours a week if that's what's right for your business. But I knew I needed that push, and that pushed me to full time. I certainly didn't have a concern that I wouldn't be able to fill up the hours. I've heard people saying that that's a problem for them. But I'm like, what do you mean? I could fill up 20 people's full-time hours easily. So yeah, definitely, if this is your year that you're ready to expand, then finding someone to support you in your business is a wonderful idea.
Most definitely. If I may, Jeff has just said, what's the difference between goals and outcomes? It's a really great question. So the way that when we talk about goals, often we talk about goals as there's two ways you can look at goals. Can be the outcomes. Goals can be what you achieve from that. But often a goal is actually isn't the you are wanting to achieve. So I'm going to use. Let me give you a specific example. Charmaine, I think, said, "Oh, we'll use the example of 50 additional members to the Herbology group." The goal is 50 additional members to Chris's Herbology group, but the outcome of that is not 50 members. The outcome of more members in his group means he has greater engagement, he has a greater network, he can service more people, he can impact more people. So the outcome of the goal is bigger than the goal itself. So the goal is simply just a thing that you're trying to get, but that's why I want you to think bigger than just the goal. The goal is the stepping stone, but the actual outcome of that is actually the piece that sits past that. So why is it important to get more people in a Facebook group? Well, if we ask that question, it's going to increase our reach. Well, why is that important? Because then I can sell to more people. We're in business, so that's what we're about. We need to sell our product to other people, or I need to serve other people using Kylie's language. So if I serve more people, then what is that going to do? Well, that's going to give me more freedom. It's going to give them more freedom. They're going to create better outcomes. They're going to tell more people. What will happen? They'll get more people into my Herbology group. So it's actually, that's not the outcome. That is the thing that happens. What happens after the goal is the outcome. What's the impact of that? That's what we're really focusing on with that business, the final kind of business big picture. So the goal and the why helps you understand what that bigger outcome and what the impact is going to be in your world. It's not, and so that's why you can have so many different goals, but they don't have to be the same. I hope that's made sense, kind of. Do you want to just put your? It's easy if I use a real example. I hope that's okay, Chris.
That's fine, Jenny. Thank you. Yeah, it's good.
Awesome. Jeff, do you want to just let me know if that answers your question? Because we often, and I think to just add one more piece to that is saying the goals are the steps to the outcome is that's in itself also, it could be. So the answer is yes, and it could be one goal, a stepping stone to something else, but it may not be. So it might be the end goal. You might just have one massive goal that you focus on. But the problem is if I focus only on my big, hairy, audacious goal, which is 3 months on holiday, that doesn't tell me what I need to do to get there. If I list all the actions I need to do to achieve 3 months on holiday a year, I'm going to have about 200 goals that sit underneath 3 months on a year away. So that's why we work on one goal that's going to get me to that online program. Next goal that's going to get me to that, 4 Empire Builders a year in Australia, 2 overseas. What's the next goal to that? Empire Builders 2 in Australia and overseas. What's the next goal to that? 3 more corporate clients doing retainers with them on a monthly basis for 12 months. They're things that I can work really clear towards, but each of their processes are different and the outcomes are quite different for each of those goals. So I hope that's been clear. But if anyone wants to jump on a call, we didn't actually pop, and I just realized I didn't put a QR code, but team, if I can get you to grab the 30-minute Calendly link and we drop that in there in the chat. Well, we have a 30-minute, which is just basically a getting to know a session. It's really about basically saying, hi, I'm Jenny. You let me know who you are and we can talk through what your goal might be. Feel free to jump on doing that. Jump on that and we can talk a little bit more through your own very specific situation. Thanks, Macy.
You got some wonderful aha moments there in the chat, Jenny.
Yeah, I'm just reading them. They're amazing. So I love Janine. Thank you for actually doing it. I was actually doing it by scheduling habits, not just keeping them all in my head. Very much get it out of your head. It becomes real. It doesn't become a mess and a fog in your head as soon as it's on paper. That's why I love the do first. Like It's why it's become one of my number one habit that I do every single day. I love, I've got a comment up the top here that I saw in terms of working backwards to describe the future state. Beatty, I love that. That to me was my first aha moment of when I started creating these things, is changing that idea of, because I don't know how to climb Mount Everest. I have no idea how to do that, but I reckon I could work it out if I thought about what I'd done. And it's essentially you're watching the movie on backwards, right? That's all we're doing is watching the movie backwards. And that helps that create for you. But no, thank you so much for sharing those goals. Wendy, I love that you're focusing on one goal and prioritizing your goals. Beautiful. Keep it clean, keep it clear, and then you focus, tick that box, go to the next one. Love it. Thanks, Kylie. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for that first hour and a half. I'm excited, though, now to get into Kylie's incredible digital marketing and digital strategy for 2024.
I'm excited too. So thank you so much, Jenny. There was many aha moments for me as well. Thanks for sharing, everybody in the chat. That was awesome. If you would like to take part in a little picture, because we always like to have a little record of how does it go? That if there wasn't a photo, it didn't happen or something. So let's if you fancy putting your cameras on, let's do it. Let's have a little picture. I'll count down from 3 and let's go. 3, 2, 1. I always do a wave. I don't know why. Just always
I had to join the party, Carly, because Vanamala was, Chris was, Leanne was. I had to wave too.
I'm just going to the second screen. So let's do it. Another one. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right, let's get stuck into digital marketing and what you can be doing in 2024. There's lots more of the same, but there's also more of new stuff too. So I'm going to share my screen now and let me know if you can see. Welcome to your 2024 digital marketing strategy. Can you guys see that? Give me a little thumbs up if you can. Cool. Okay, hang on a moment. I'll just do a quick little behind the scenes. Hang on. All right, let's get stuck in. And I'm hoping there's quite a few little glitches that we had this morning. I'm not talking about Jenny's presentation glitches. I'm talking about my own. With Canva, I couldn't download anything and all kinds of things, but apparently there was lots of Canva issues going on. Now, tell me in the chat if you guys are also Canva users. So, little known fact, but many years ago, I had a film production business. And then when I moved up to the Byron Shire, I realized that I needed to really diversify and expand and offer more stuff. So I went off and learned graphic design. So I was really heavily into Illustrator and Photoshop and all of that. And I actually really disliked Canva. And when it came out some years later, and I disliked it for quite a number of years. And now I love it so much. I haven't even had an Adobe Suite subscription for at least 3 or 4 years now. I strictly use Canva only when it comes to graphics, and I just love it. I'm a very big fan, and I teach workshops in it too. So there you go. Things can really change and evolve, and that's a really important thing. Jenny and I talked this morning in our Bite-Sized Business Live video podcast. One of the things we were talking about was your digital declutter, and that was doing things like getting rid of apps that you're no longer using, stopping paying for subscriptions that, often we're just paying for things and we just forget because they don't cost very much money, or we think we kind of need it. But then we find there's other things that can do that same thing for us. And of course, the more that Canva evolves, the more it can actually do for you. So I know that my team creating a lot of content can actually use the AI section of Canva now, this particularly around the writing, and not necessarily need to go for ideas in ChatGPT. Anyway, lots and lots of ideas. A lot of you are saying, yes, you use Canva Pro. It's definitely the one, I would say. If you're going to use Canva, definitely use Canva Pro, because what it offers is so much more than just the free Canva. It's a very good investment. There's 3 investments that I would say for this year, for 2024. Number 1 would be upgrade to Canva Pro. The next one would be to upgrade or go for the Meta Business Verified. So what that means is they started offering it last year that you could get your accounts verified. If they're around $20 a month, and I've got the Facebook verified, means you get the little blue check, and also the Instagram account verified. Now, last year I was saying, well, I don't know if you really need it. I'm certainly pleased to have it verified, but I don't know if I would necessarily recommend that you should do it. But now I've learned through one of my clients, losing access through being hacked. She's not only did the hacker change their password, but also the email address. And Meta for the last 6 weeks haven't even responded. Now, if she was Meta verified, her support through that would have been a very quick and painless process. So for $20 a month, I think it's absolutely worth your while. So I think that's a really, really good one to update in or upgrade in. And then the next one that I would be suggesting if you were going to upgrade in something would be in ChatGPT and go for the pro version of that. It's quite extraordinary what they're offering you there. Plus, it's really up to the minute in terms of, well, not quite the minute, but certainly very, very recent in terms of the support of what it's taking the information from. But this is not an AI workshop, so I'll keep moving along and chat with you about, here's a little bit about me for those of you that haven't met me before. I'm Kylie and I build brands. I help business owners, creators, entrepreneurs and brands to stand out and get visible online so that they can attract their ideal customers instead of chasing them. So I'm a business coach. I specialize in digital marketing, content and branding, and I love helping you stand out, grow your business and soar. There's two different parts to the Hello Media Company. One is we're a coaching business. We do one-on-ones, group coaching, masterclasses and all of that. The other side is as a social media agency or a digital marketing agency, because our base level is where we would run your social media for you. But then we go right through to we can do your blogs, your SEO, your newsletters and all that kind of stuff too. So there's all kinds of different ways we can use it, that you can work with us. I just noticed Christina saying in the chat, I use Canva Pro, still struggling with some of it. Yes, and no wonder, because they keep adding new things literally on the daily. And then you said, I was thinking of doing more training. So for all of you in New South Wales, if you would like to do a free Canva course, I'm teaching one for Byron Community College. It's online, so you can be anywhere in New South Wales, and they're offering it free. And if you're out of New South Wales, it's a reduced price, very heavily reduced, because it's government subsidized to help businesses grow. So my team can share the links to Byron Community College to the Canva courses. So they're both Canva for business, but one is for beginners and one is for the next level up. And for example, Julie, who I think is in here with us today, she's done almost every single one of those Canva courses that I've ever run, because every term there's something new to learn. So if you'd like to get in on that, then they can share. You're going to see that in the chat in just a moment. Would you suggest I do the beginners or the business one? I would say the beginners one first, Christina. And what is really good is that I do 1 week is just beginners, and then the second week is the next stage. That means that if you feel like you've got a lot out of the beginners, then why not jump in and do the second week as well and do the next stage? So that way you just keep learning. And I record them as well so that you can take the recordings away with you. But much better to be there live, because then I can help you as we go along. So a little bit more here. It tells you that I'm a speaker, coach, mentor, writer, designer, presenter, content creator, branding specialist, and strategic consultant. I have this wonderful team that I work with. And also on the side, I run Positive Passionate Business Women. It's an online directory, and we do online meetups, supporting each other, collaborating, doing all kinds of good stuff. I'm also a member of the Social Media Marketing Society in the States. It helps me keep on top of my game. Go off to the States each year for Social Media Marketing World, so I can be networking and learning with other digital marketing specialists. And also, just in case you didn't know, I do a Bite-Sized Business Live podcast with Jenny every Monday morning. It's usually around 11 o'clock New South Wales time. You can catch us live. You can ask questions in the chat, or you can watch it later on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube. And every week we have a different topic. So as I said before, this morning's topic was digital decluttering, and we give examples of how we do it. So it's a great way. It's about 15 or 20 minutes. and you can jump in and get involved with us. So I talked before when Jenny asked me about my big goal. Well, this is it. So last year I did a really soft launch towards the end of the year. And I purposely did a soft launch. I just wanted a maximum of about 5 to 10 people in the membership while we tested it out. And I needed to change I knew that I would want to change things and evolve it so that in the new year I could really do a much bigger launch. And this way we've been able to tweak it. This year, I'm really excited that with our membership, so it's a really low cost. This one here is only 89 XGST per month, but this way you get 4 lots of sessions on Zoom per month, so 1 each week. Sometimes they're 8 a.m., sometimes they're 12 a.m. so that it suits everybody. You can turn up to whichever ones you want to. 2 times a month, it's Ask Me Anything. Now, that's the real gold going on right there, because everybody's got questions all the time. It could be, what's going on in the back end of my website, or how do I fix this up in Facebook, or how can I turn my account into a professional, or can you help me with the ads, or whatever it is. You can share your screen and we can work on whatever you want to. And then the other 2 sessions are Learn Online. And so that can be me showing you how to put stuff in Meta Business Suite, how to schedule, how to look at your analytics. There's always lots of sessions on Canva and latest things going on in there. And then the next thing that's not even mentioned on here, but it's our latest thing that we're offering also, which is a session every month. It'll be for a good few hours. We're working out 2 to 3 hours. And it's where you can come in once a month and create content together. So you're literally getting your content made, like with help of me and my team, and then you're going to be able to go off and schedule it. So that's an amazing way to actually put in the calendar and make it happen. So that's all included in your Shine Online membership for $89 a month. The other cool thing about this one is that you can jump out of it anytime you want to. So you can sign up even just for 1 month and try it out if you want to. So you can cancel at any time, just give a month's notice. So my team will share the link to it if you want to find the page where you can sign up to that. So let's get stuck in though, because there's so much for me to share with you guys. And firstly, it would be, why would we be wanting to think about a strategy? Well, so part 2 of this workshop is digital marketing strategy. It always needs to follow on from goals, because your goals are the most important bit. They're your North Star. That's deciding where you want to go, what you want to do, etc. And then, of course, your digital marketing will be a huge part of what it is that you're wanting to achieve. So we're going to take a little look at the current state of the social media landscape, what's working on social media today, and then your 2024 digital marketing strategy. And you'll notice I didn't say social media strategy, because digital marketing encompasses all the ways that you're seen online, not just your social media. So often a lot of people think, well, as long as I post on Facebook a couple of times a week or a couple of times a month, then I'm going to be seen and that's all I need. But that is absolutely not the case. You need to be doing a whole lot more than just posting on your socials a few times a month, and just, it's sort of like throwing mud at the wall and hoping that something might stick or land with people. But we'll find out more about that as we go along today. So dream big, make a strategy, work hard, and stand out from the crowd. So we're going to look at what to do and what to focus on in 2024. So there's 6 things that I'm going to go through each one of those. So number 1 is we want to set social marketing goals that make sense. You want to get to know who you're talking to, and that's really your audience targeting. You want to choose the right places where your peeps hang out. You want to, that doesn't mean whether it's going to the pub or whether it's going to the bolo, it's what platforms they're on. Or maybe your audience actually are people that prefer getting email marketing. Maybe they prefer to read newsletters than even going on socials at all. Or maybe they're hanging out on LinkedIn and you're not even there at all. So the next one is making content that your audience is going to resonate with, planning when you're going to post, so using a content calendar, and keeping an eye on your campaigns, whether those are paid campaigns or organic campaigns, to see how those are doing. So the first one is setting your social marketing goals that make sense. So I go by the 80-20 rule. I've gone by this for about 6 years now, and I haven't deviated from it at all. So the 80-20 rule is that 80% of the time what you're posting is going to be edutaining. So educating and entertaining. 20% of the time is when you're selling. And so many people get it round the other way, or even go 100% selling. Now, if you think about it, if you've already bought something, let's just say I bought a dress and I'm following that company because I liked the dress, and then they're going to keep showing me stuff all the time about sell about that, buying more dresses. Well, I'm not necessarily in the market to buy another dress, but how about instead they put posts up about how I could accessorize that dress, or what I could do for it for winter so I could keep wearing it. I could put on some tights and boots and a jacket, or I could wear it with a scarf, or maybe I could do something with my hair with it. Maybe I could pull the side up a bit and put a flower in it. I mean, there's so many different ways that they could be doing posts about what I could do with that dress I've already bought. Now, you might think, but hang on, really, the goal is to be making more money and selling more dresses. But as the audience, I'm not necessarily up for buying more. So what would happen? I would just unfollow them. I would unsubscribe from their newsletters because I'm feeling overwhelmed with all the selling at me. But if I'm receiving value of things like how to style my dress, then that's a far better thing. Now, imagine if they were showing me some of their social conscience side of the business, and they were telling me what I could do with my dress when I'd had enough of it. Maybe they have a Facebook group where you could sell the dresses secondhand. So they're actually making less money then, aren't they, by that stuff being sold secondhand? But they're creating this amazing community of people that love that particular brand. So keep that in mind, that what you want to be doing is edutaining, so for 80% of the time, and the selling's really only for 20% of the time. So our goals are that we want to be increasing brand awareness, perhaps. So that means getting visible. So you want to create an authentic and lasting brand awareness, of course. So you need to avoid just doing promo stuff all the time. So we want to showcase our brand personality. Now, that doesn't mean you yourself. For example, I have a strict rule. Sometimes I deviate from it, but my strict rule is for my business is that I don't post political stuff. So I really try and stay well away from that. I'm happy to talk about that in my personal life, but not in my business. My business doesn't really have much of a political stance that it needs to share. You might, maybe it suits your business that you would do that kind of thing. Maybe you want to talk about climate change all the time. Maybe you want to talk about vaccines all the time. Maybe you want to be really, really polarizing in your posts, or maybe you don't. But you have to work out, what is your brand personality? What kind of voice is your brand going to talk with? Because it is incredibly important that you stick with that. Now, I know we just talked a little earlier about getting people to help you with your socials, whether you go with an agency, whether you get a VA, whatever it is that you want to do, but you need to make sure that whoever it is that you're working with, they understand your brand voice. So don't, just because you get someone on board to help you, deviate from that brand voice, because it is so important, that consistency, so people know what to expect with you. Maybe brand awareness isn't a big deal for you at the moment. Maybe instead what you want to be working on is generating leads and sales. So whether that's online, whether it's in store, maybe you want to get stuck into Facebook or Instagram shopping. There's also new TikTok shopping if you're a TikToker. So you want to make sure that you are really nailing what it is to get people buying from you. Probably though, if this is your big goal for this year, is big generating leads and sales, what you'd want to be working on is ads, because you probably already know only 3% of your followers are seeing your posts if we're talking just organically. So we can, of course, combat that by getting amazing engagement, which then pushes our posts out to more and more people. But just as a rule of thumb, when you put it out there, 3% of your followers is going to see it. So the key is to get people commenting as quick as possible, share it into your stories as fast as possible, whatever content you're putting out there, because the more that you do of that, the more that the algorithm will push it out. So you've got to be super, super onto that, because otherwise you put your content out, you put so much effort into it, and it just dies. So we don't want that going on. We also don't want a scenario where you forget about the importance of organic and only focus on ads, because of course, organic needs to be a huge part of your strategy, but also, unfortunately, so do ads. Ads, on the other hand, can cost a lot of money. You don't want to just start, like I said before about the slinging mud at the wall, you don't want to just start putting ads out and just wasting money, because there's so much strategy around ads. It's really important. So start learning ads if that's one thing you want to focus on this year, is really improving your sales and leads, etc., through socials. for example, or through Google Ads. There's lots of different ways of doing it. Another goal might be for you that you want to grow your audience. So do you want to grow your email database, or do you want to grow your Instagram followers? I always say, though, that I would rather have 100 followers that really loved what I was doing, really loved my content, and really engaged with me than 10,000 followers of people who don't really care at all. And one thing you've got to be so careful of is not buying followers. It's really, really important. You don't go down that road of going, oh, I really care about vanity metrics and I really want people to see me with loads of followers. No, 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 no. We want to make sure that the people that follow you actually care about what you're doing. One of the big things is that whether it's Facebook or Instagram or any of the platforms, if you have posts that go out that nobody engages with, that will be shown to fewer and fewer people as you go along. So it doesn't matter if you have 100,000, 10,000 or 1,000 followers, you need to have people that are engaging with your content. Another one might be, for a goal, would be increasing your community engagement. I would definitely be encouraging you all to have this one as your goal. So there's some data that shows that 46% of consumers think that brands that engage their audience are the best to follow on social. So find new ways that you can engage your current followers. So that means you need to be experimenting with your messaging and your content. You want to be asking for user-generated content. We'll be talking about that in a little bit more as well. And you absolutely want to be working your hashtags. So you want to be thinking about how many hashtags you're putting where, and are you researching them? And definitely you want to be doing camel case hashtags, because last year, and of course going forward, it's all about accessible marketing. So making sure that, well, there's so many things. I'm not going to go into it right now, but so many ways that you can make your digital marketing more accessible, and Google and Meta will definitely give you guys a boost, more so than they would if your content was not accessible or inclusive marketing. Even something as simple as just asking a question can really increase your engagement rate. So put up a post, here's the red dress, here's the blue dress. Which one do you prefer, red or blue? Or you could put up quite a polarizing quote and say, do you agree with this? Yes or no, thumb up or thumb down, just tell me in an emoji. So there's so many different ways that you can get people chatting. And you can also ask people to share your post. You could say share into your stories. You could say tag a friend that should know about this. So always think about those call to actions and how you can encourage people to engage with your content. You also want to think about, maybe one of your goals is to get more traffic going to your website. So you could easily do that by just writing great blogs, creating a little snippet of your blog that's very enticing, and put that on your socials, put that in your email marketing, and that will drive the traffic to your website. My big digital marketing strategy every year now for at least 10 years has been: number one in the month, write the blog post. Number two, create the content around it that's going to promote that blog post, put it in socials, put it into newsletters, turn it into reels, etc. And then get that traffic to the website through that blog post being so appealing. Also, it's going to be full of keyword rich. It's going to really just do a great job of finding new audience as well, even just with what I'm using for them to search on Google. Of course, though, once we've got that traffic driven to our site and we've made it there, or they've made it there, you've only got 3 seconds to then turn those people into visitors that want to stay and explore your website, or in 3 seconds, they're going to leave. So it's a really, really big one. Think about when they've made it to your website, then what happens? Are they encouraged to keep exploring and moving around your website, or do they go, boom, I'm there, it's not what I was hoping for, and off I go? Or boom, I read the thing, now I'm leaving. So we want to keep them moving and meandering around your site. So think about those social media marketing strategy goals, or digital marketing strategy goals, and pick 1 or 2 to focus on each year. So I'll remind you what they were. So one was increasing brand awareness, one was generating leads and sales, one was growing your audience, increasing your community engagement, and driving traffic to your site. That was just a few. There's so many that you can think of that you might want to be working on this year, but don't try all of them in one go, because it's going to be way too much. So we want to think about what worked for you in 2023. Oh, sorry, I just realized I didn't have the chat visible just yet? What if plenty of people look at my stories, but I don't get many likes? So that's a really, really good question, Beatty. So on your stories, are you putting stickers up? Are you saying on your stories, you know, the love heart sliders? So, you know, you want people to slide it up and go, yeah, I agree with that. Even on that love heart slider, you can change it to any emoji that you want it to be. So it might be thumbs down. Do you agree with that? Yes, no, etc., etc. Put up a poll, any kind of sticker that you want, put a link to what you want them to go and read. Stickers are absolutely the magic on socials because you've got so many opportunities there with getting people to do something. And people are used to touching their phones. So we want them to get to do more and more of that. So stickers are magic for that. Yay, Jenny, your focus is on creating engaging followers. That is awesome. What else for everybody else? Tell me what would be your top one digital marketing goal that you want to work on for 2023. Let me know in the chat. That would be awesome. So sorry, back to Beatty. So if you're not getting people doing much responding with them, then you want to think about, well, how can I mix them up? How can I change it? Yay, Janine, engagement as well for you. That's awesome. Vanamala says generating leads for sales. Very good. And how are you generating the leads? Are you collecting their email addresses? Then are you retargeting them through emails? Are you looking at your email database and going, I've got a lot of people not opening my emails. I've got to change up my subject lines. Or I'm going to offer them something super awesome just to the ones that haven't opened it in a year. And I'm going to target them and ask them if they want this special offer. And then if they don't even open that one, I'm going to take them off my list. Because just like our social media followers, we need our email database as well to be a very engaged following. Charmaine says, grow audience and get more traffic to my website. Awesome. I love the topic of driving traffic to your website. I'm doing that, I think it's this Thursday, as a free workshop for Nortec. If anybody wants to come along, we can share that link in the chat. You just need to register with Nortec and come and learn about how to drive traffic. So let's look at what worked for us in 2023. What were our top campaigns? Now, this is actually really, really easy to find out because all you've got to do is go into Meta Business Suite, which is business.facebook.com, and go and have a little look at your insights and see what worked really, really well. Was it reels? Did you get a lot of views on some of those reels? Was it carousels for you? Was it straight graphic posts? Was it particular stories? Out of those reels, which one was a unicorn that went really, really viral and which ones didn't work at all? So there's no point creating over and over and over the same kind of content unless you're getting incredibly good results. So mix it up all the time. Now there's a post that we put out every single Sunday and it goes into our Hello Media Facebook group. We can share that in the chat if you're not already joined to it or a member of it. And we also put it out on our Hello Media socials, which we can share in the chat as well. And it's all about social post ideas for you to have for that week. So we share things like, what are the days of the year? What's happening on that particular day? And you can jump in on that bandwagon. You can grab that hashtag and use that as well. So every week there's lots and lots of ideas for you for new content ideas. So if you've gone and had a little look at what were your top campaigns and you've found that maybe it was stuff that it was around things that you were collaborating with others on. So maybe you're an Australian made business. And when it was Australia Made Week, you did a whole lot of content around that and you use those hashtags like Australian Made campaign, for example. Then you'll go, okay, so I need more of that type of content. That's going to make a difference for what I can jump in on. So what type of content is your audience most engaged with? Is it reels? Is it just single graphics? Is it straight photos? Is it carousels? There's all kinds of different things that we can put out there. That doesn't mean that you look at your top type of content and that's all you do forevermore. No, you then got to do some of your other content that they weren't engaging with because you've got to change it up and say, how can I make it better? One of the things I know for sure, and it's bugged me for a very long time, is that every time I post something personal on my business page, it always performs better than everything else. And it really annoys me because I don't want to put personal stuff out there all the time. But from time to time, I do. I know it's going to get much better engagement. It's going to get much better views. And then that helps my next lot of content be seen by more people. So you need to play the game. You need to work out what of your content is getting better views. And then you can put out more of that. So then you're getting a bit of less peaks and troughs and more regular people seeing your, more regularly is your stuff being seen. So think about what was doing really well for you. What kind of content really hit it off with your audience? So think about that, study it. Don't just guess, but go to have a little look at business.facebook.com and check out what it was that was working really well for you. So that is called Meta Business Suite. And you'll find that it's everything in there that you really need to know. You can also do your scheduling from there. You can do all kinds of good stuff. I can't rave enough about it. It didn't even exist a few years ago. We were all using schedulers that were external, like Hootsuite or Later or Planoly or Plan. But now I definitely encourage you to use Meta Business Suite. I actually use other platforms to schedule things like your Google business posts and Pinterest and, well, it's called X now, not Twitter, but most people still think of it as Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. For Meta Business Suite, you can only schedule for LinkedIn, for Instagram and Facebook, but definitely use that platform because it is good. So you want to look at things like, what was your website traffic? What were your conversion rates? How much buzz you stirred up on social media? You want to be thinking about how you can listen to your audience. That's really key. So think about the feedback that you got from people, sift through your comments, maybe even run a little survey or two, some polls to get the full picture. One thing that's really super cool in Meta Business Suite, you can go to your inbox and you can look at all of your Instagram and Facebook inbox messages and respond to people directly from there. You can also look at all the comments that people have ever made on those platforms. You don't have to go to your Instagram app or your Facebook app. You can do it all inside Meta Business Suite. So it helps you save time. It stops you getting distracted by other things going on your socials, but it also helps you be much, much better at answering people. And in that spot, you can also set up all of your autoresponders too, which is great and really helps you save time. So we want to think about those social marketing goals. So which one of these do you want to start with? For example, as I said, there's a lot more than just those, but think of one of these or think of two of these and focus on these for this year, or maybe even for the first 6 months. It is totally up to you. You'll also want to do an audit. Go and take a look at how your platforms are performing right now, not just your content, but what they look like. So look at, for example, in your Instagram, check out how many people are actually looking at your profile, how many people are looking at your stories, how many people are doing this, doing that. Maybe you've got a phone number on your Instagram. Maybe you want people making a call. Is anyone actually doing it? Or should you change that call to action and go with something else? So doing an audit of what you're doing right now so that you can really understand what you want to do differently going through into 2024. So your social media audit needs to be part of your goal setting. It's going to give you the really clear picture of what you need to achieve or what you want to achieve moving forward. So oversee your vision and your long-term goals. Where are you heading and why? So for example, Sandra here says, community engagement as the starting point to make them more aware of me and what I do or offer. Awesome. So it looks to me like Sandra will have 2 different social marketing goals for the year. Number 1 would be brand awareness. Number 2 would be community engagement. So brand awareness, especially if you've had a little lull from your socials, then brand awareness is a really important one, and start posting. And remember that just because you've got followers there, they don't necessarily know who you are. So remembering to do those introductory posts at least once a month and saying, hi, I'm Sandra and I do XYZ, and tell people all about it. Tell them what moves you to do what you do and what you're passionate about. Share maybe a picture of when you were first in business and what you were doing compared to what you're doing now. There's so many different ways that you can do some behind the scenes posts and get really personal with them. So that's the first part, is the brand awareness. Make them aware of what you do and who you are. And then the second part, where Sandra said community engagement, that's really important. So what kind of call to actions? So I know that Sandra makes exquisite jewelry. I am a proud owner of some of her beautiful jewelry. So she could put up 2 different pairs of earrings and say, which one do you prefer? Do you like the round shape or do you like the pointy shape, for example? And then everybody loves giving their opinion. So those are really great kind of posts. Christina, I know, she could do up there and she could say, what yoga have you done? Which is your favorite? Do you prefer hot yoga or do you prefer gentle yoga? I know Christina teaches a number of styles, but one that I've done with her is restorative yoga. So you could say, do you like this or do you like this? And people love to share. And then of course you can start the chat. So one really important thing to remember is don't ignore people. Once they've actually given a comment on your post, don't just ignore them. You then need to respond to the comment and keep that conversation going. So that vision, when you've worked out where it is that you want to head and what goals you're setting, that then becomes your North Star and of course your why. And then I want you to use Jenny's process of working backwards from there and saying, okay, that's where I want to head. Now I'm going to look at how it is that I'm actually going to get there. So keep all of that in mind, guys, that goals, so the goals that you did with Jenny, also use that same strategy to work out the goals that you want to do in social media marketing, but also go and look at your analytics so you can understand what went well, what didn't, what can I do more of going through into 2024. One cool thing, and I'm actually not going to deep dive into this one because this is a big topic on its own. We could run a whole workshop just on your SWOT analysis, but I've got a little worksheet that you can take away. And I'm just going to zip through this one really, really quickly. But this is so important for everybody. So you can literally divide a piece of paper in quarters, or we'll give you the fillable PDF that you can play around with. So the SWOT analysis is your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. We just did this in our group coaching session a couple of weeks ago, and it was really great to deep dive into what it is that we're actually good at, what we're not good at, and what we can learn and get better at. So for example, in marketing, you can look at your strengths and say, oh, well, I'm easily able to track results and adjust your campaigns to suit. I'm easily able to set up and target specific demographics. I'm easily able to switch strategies at a moment's notice or adapt to change. So that's good. The weaknesses, though, with our marketing is the cost, time, energy, and money of producing high quality content endlessly. The ongoing challenge of getting visible in a noisy marketplace. The endless changes and staying on top of trends to adopt or not to adopt. But then we can look at the opportunities. We can jump on those new trends. We can use new technologies to reach new audiences. We can create more personalized messages, and we can try new platforms anytime. So we can pivot really, really easily. For example, last year, Threads launched, and we could all jump on the Threads bandwagon, which was fun and really exciting. The threats are, for example, the continued changes and fragmentation of the digital marketing and media landscape, suddenly obsolete platforms, and the rise of ad blockers. So, for example, who is regularly using Clubhouse? I'm not saying that they're obsolete, but I used to be on Clubhouse all the time. And now I'm lucky if I turn it on maybe once a quarter. I'm pretty not so interested anymore. I must say, each time I have gone on to it, I've really enjoyed it. But the way that it is, you've actually got to sit there and listen at that exact time. And you just could well miss something you really needed to hear and you can't go back to it. So it's a really, really, really big one. And of course, if you're doing ads, this is a huge problem, the rise of ad blockers. So I want you, each one of you, as homework to take away. You can use, we've put it into the chat there. I'm hoping that's, can you just let me know, Angel, is that the template that you've shared or the view only? Hopefully it's the template or the view only. Or you could share it as a fillable. Thank you so much. Or you could share it as a fillable PDF as well. But this is so good to look at what it is for you, what you're amazing at, what you really are not so amazing at, what are the great opportunities, and what are those threats. So that's something, that's what analysis I do at least once a quarter. I absolutely love it, and you could too. I'm going to give you a little example of this one here. This is a SWOT analysis for a clothing retailer. So the strengths could be they offer a wide variety of products and services. They appeal to an audience that can stay with them long term. They give personalized fittings. Clothing is always needed. They've got amazing personality and fantastic staff. The opportunities are, let's go over to their weaknesses. Maybe that they're in a small town, so there's reduced foot traffic. Maybe they have reduced hours. Perhaps they don't work on Sundays or open on Sundays. Maybe they don't have enough staff, and so therefore they're feeling a little overworked. Let's look at the opportunities. They can offer discounts, they can have sales, they give personal service, and they can do even better at that. They can do collaborations with other local businesses or other online businesses. They can get in unique lines of clothing, and they can bring in smaller brands. But the threats are that they have competition from bigger chain stores, that there's competition from bigger online stores with huge advertising budgets or false impressions. So I want you to think about this for your own business and get stuck into it. It's well and truly worth your while. So look at, what are you good at? What will you move forward, or how will you move forward? What qualifications can you hone? What do you still need to learn? What can you improve on? What's the least enjoyable part of your job? Because maybe that's one that you want to pass over. In the future, what projects might you take on? What contacts are available in your industry? How can you improve your skills? And what are the main skills needed that you're not developing? And is there anything new in your field that you won't be able to learn? It's a very powerful thing to do, that SWOT analysis, not just in business in general, not just in your marketing, but in all spots. So this is what your template looks like, and we'll be sharing, Angel's already shared it with you. So page number 1 looks like that. Swipe to page number 2 and it's ready for you to fill out. Let's move on to number 2, though. You want to get to know who you're talking to, and that is your audience targeting. So knowing who you're communicating with is absolutely crucial. It's essential to understand who those ideal customers are and what are their needs. So what it is that you offer, you need to be telling them all about that, but you need to be finding out what their problems are so that you can be the solution to their problems. So I'd like you to think about those personas, or some people call them personas. I like to call them customer avatars. There's lots of different ways that we can refer to them, but basically you're thinking of who your dream clients are at each stage of the funnel. So you want to ask yourself, what are they interested in? What kind of content that you can put out there will catch their attention? So for example, for me, I know that I can say in some of my socials, here's a Canva tip that will help your brand look awesome. And people love those little Canva tips, and they can be really, really simple ones. Now, I'm not trying to sell Canva, for example, but I'm trying to show that I have expertise in my area. And I know that people are going to lap that stuff up and share it. So it's a really good one for me. So you need to look at what kind of content can you do in your business that's really going to help you reach the audience that you want to. So let me go along to number 2 is ask the kind of questions. We'll go on to looking at our psychographics in a moment, but who are they? What interests them? What content will grab their attention? Creating those detailed personas. This is obviously not a workshop in customer avatars. That's a huge workshop in itself. A really, really fun one, because we can really nut out exactly who those people are, but we do all of that in group coaching. And number 4 is enhancing the effectiveness of your marketing strategies. And that increases your chances of really precisely reaching that target audience that you're looking for. So if just in a little nutshell, if you're wanting to look at your customer avatars, things to include, and I prefer to look at the psychographics rather than the demographics. So demographics looks at things like age. I was about to say size and weight, but that's not always relevant. I don't even know why that just came to my mind, but it's things more like age, gender, race, etc., which I'm not so interested in. What I'm far more interested in is what makes people do what they do. So that's the psychographics. So that's what's really looking to understand those cognitive factors that drive consumer behaviors. So I'm more interested in what they're interested in, what their personality type is, what their values are, what their attitudes are, their beliefs, and their opinions. That's going to really help me on, thank you so much, Ash. If you're not following Ash, have a little look at her social. She is the Instagram, sorry, not the Instagram. She's the Happy Therapist. And we've been doing her socials with her for some time now, and rebranded her and all kinds of things. And they're really fun, I must say. It's really fun working on her account. So their beliefs, their opinions, that way I can really know I'm targeting those people well when I've worked out who are my customers or who are my ideal clients and all of these things about them. And let's just talk very, very quickly about that know, like, and trust funnel, because that's what's going to take them from visitors down to clients, people that are going to buy from you. So we can look at this in many different ways. We can look at it as a sales funnel, as a customer funnel, in many, many different ways, but it's also a know, like, and trust funnel. So at the very, very top of the funnel, that's the know bit. And that's where they're becoming aware of what you do. So they're finding you on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube, whatever it is, wherever it is that you're hanging out, and they're hopefully finding you there. And so your social media activity are going to help you reach your ideal audience. And they're saying, who are you? So then we move down the funnel to the why do I care bit. And that's the like bit. So when your content inspires them, educates or entertains them, it's going to hopefully resonate with your audience, if it's the right audience that you've actually chosen for your business. We go down the funnel a bit more into the are you an expert bit, and that's where they really want to trust you. So you want to be generous, abundant, interact with your customers, and show the human side of your business. And then down we go. Once they've trusted you, then they're going to buy from you. And that's where they're saying, how can you help me? And it's not about you, it's about your customer. How does your product or your service solve their problem? But why you? So in a crowded marketplace with lots of other brands and opinions, you want to stand out to your customers and clients by creating a better buying experience. That's not just buying a product, that's buying a service, that's anything, because at the end of the day, if there's an exchange of money, then it's buying. So we've got this little ebook here for you, which is 5 steps to get that know, like, and trust factor. You just need to scan that QR code, or we can share it as a link and you can grab it. So what's included in that is there's 5 things to get that know, like, and trust factor. Number 1, get personal on Facebook. This makes a lot of people squirm. Let me know in the chat if you just like absolutely not. I do not want business people on my personal Facebook. I used to be one of those. Then I realized quite some years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I went, why not? I can still post really personal stuff if I want to. I can just choose my audience for that. And I can post businessy stuff, and I can choose my audience for that. So get personal on Facebook. Befriend people. For example, everyone in here today, you could befriend every one of those people in here today. So I'll put in, actually, if one of my team can put in the link to find Kylie Mowbray Allen, that'd be awesome. You'll notice that mine is a professional account rather than the personal one, and I'll talk about that in a moment. It's still personal, but it's been converted to a professional, and you guys can all do that too. And there's lots of great reasons why you'd want to do that. So you want to share posts on your business account, about your business, on your personal account. This way your friends can support you and they can share your stuff and they can tag friends and stuff. So the Facebook algorithm works so much better on your personal profile than it does on your business page. So for example, I put a post out about this workshop today, put it on my business page, put it on my personal page. And of course, straight away, the comments blow up on the one I put on my personal. On my business one, not so much. So it's really, really important to remember, put stuff about your business on your personal, because your friends do want to support you. Tell me in the chat, is there anyone that finds that gross? And like I said, I used to find that really, really gross, but not anymore. Now I really can see the value in it. And you know what? It's amazing how many of my friends that I know do amazing stuff, but it's not on their socials. And they don't tell anybody about it on their personal socials. And I find that absolutely extraordinary. Thank you, Sandra. Lovely to have you here. Thank you. Step number 2 is more helping and less self-promotion. So you should be thinking about joining Facebook groups where you can help others. Share your knowledge and your expertise in the comments. So remember that when you're doing that, you're not mentioning your business, but people are looking, they're watching, they're reading, they're realizing how awesome you are. Then they'll click on your personal profile. They'll go and see what you do. Now, if you haven't optimized your personal profile, included your website, links to all of your business socials, a little about section, etc., how can they know what you do? So you never know. That might have been a new client or a new customer just right there ready to go for you because they saw something that you were posting about in a Facebook group. So make sure that you start helping people. You respond to comments or respond to people in the comments when they're putting a post up saying, how can I do that? How can I do this? An example of that would be that Facebook group called Like-Minded Bitches Drinking Wine. Now, there's heaps of Facebook groups around like that, but they're the kind of groups that you can respond if you want to and show your expertise in an area. You can also go into groups like the Our Hello Media Facebook group. We'll share that link. You can jump in that group and do a full introduction, telling people who you are and what you do and how you help people. You can even do a video and put it in that group. You can offer up a lead magnet and collect email addresses. There are just so many ways. So if you just said to yourself, for half an hour every week, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to start posting in groups, and you would be amazed at the result and how much more visible you would get. And that is number 3. Step 3 is get visible. So post consistently on your personal profile, on your business pages, on all your platforms, and in groups. That doesn't mean you have to be on all the platforms. That's just posting consistently on the platforms you choose to be on. So you want to engage, you want to entertain, you want to educate your audience, you want to reply to all the comments, and you need to be social on social. Don't just ignore people. Make sure that if they're responding to you, that you actually do respond back. And share your best tips. Don't hold back with your expertise. You really want to be you, the authentic you. I'm always amazed at how many people don't want to share their knowledge that they have. And they're like, oh, no, you got to pay me to get that. No, that's not the case. You want to put it out there because that's how you're showing that you're the expert in your area. Step number 4 is offering value and give. So grow your audience by giving away a high value lead magnet. Ask for their email in return for your awesome offer. So you can also do things like give away prizes during a Facebook or an Instagram live. You can do free webinars. I'm going to give you an example with Christopher. He's in our group coaching program and he has Herbology Hub. Now he can do a free webinar, put it out there, invite all the people in that want to come in. He can create some amazing content and talk for an hour on this particular topic that people are fascinated about. He can then share an offer during that for them to join Herbology Hub, and boom, that's how he's going to grow it. It's a really wonderful way. It worked the very first time he did it. I was in on that. It was amazing to see. He got people, I think it was like 99 or something. Is that right, Christopher? People that signed up to your webinar?
We got about 92 signed up. I think we got 45 on the webinar. Look, it was amazing. Kylie was legendary and her team, because we had a few little, let me put it this way, technical hiccups before we went live. They just sorted it all out, and all I had to do was open my mouth and talk. Look, it was a great model. It got me off to a racing start. So yeah.
And another little really clever thing that Christopher did, and thank you, Christopher, but it's all you just with your amazing knowledge, is that Christopher offered during that time that you could sign up to Herbology Hub for a special price. But then he sent out a newsletter to everybody saying, you've got another 24 hours to make that decision to sign up. So he got more signups during that time as well. So really, really a good idea to offer things where people can actually see you in action. Vanamala's just said in the chat, since I followed your advice to offer a free yoga class for anyone signing up to my newsletter, incredible 50% increase. Yay, that's so awesome. So absolutely offering value, giving stuff away just makes you a beautiful, abundant person, but it gives people a chance to make a decision based on getting to see you in action rather than trying to decide to sign up when they really know very little about you. You're not going to get a huge return from that. Step number 5 is, if you haven't already, start a Facebook group. You can connect with your followers in there. You can invite them into your group, and then you can get to know your tribe. You can ask them questions. You can ask them to share their offerings. You can add heaps of value. There's all kinds of learning sections in there, unit sections in your Facebook group. You can, of course, ask for their emails when they join your group, which is a really great way to build your database. And you can ask them what they want to know more of and then give it to them. So, for example, I have multiple Facebook groups. Most of them are private ones for different parts of the programs that we run. For example, for our Shine membership, we have a Facebook group for that. So I could say at the end of last year and create a poll and say, what do you want more of in the Learn Online sessions? And I could say, do you want SEO tips? Do you want to learn how to research your keywords? Do you want more Canva tutorials? Do you want this, this, and this? And they could also add their own stuff to the polls. So it's a great way for me to get feedback and for people to be able to share what they want to in the group. So definitely a Facebook group's important, but I often get asked this exact question, so I'm going to share it right now. What is the difference between a Facebook page and a Facebook group? Well, I like to say it like this, and this is not my house, but I think it's got a really sweet little garden, so I like to use this picture. So your Facebook page is like your front yard. People drive by or they walk by with a dog. They see how your house is looking at how it's presented. They can see if you've got dog poop in the front yard. I once went to somebody's house and they had a dirty nappy in the front yard. Their dog had tipped over the wheelie bin and there was rubbish everywhere. And I said, oh, do you want some help picking that up? And they were like, oh no, it's been there for weeks. So imagine if your Facebook page looked like that, and it was kind of messy and it was kind of not even updated recently and it was just all over the show and there was no great Facebook cover and they didn't know anything about you. What about those ones where that nobody's even posted for 2 years? So you can just assume that that business is shut down, but chances are it's actually not. They just don't really care about updating their socials. So the Facebook page is where everybody goes to just have a little look at what you're all about. So it's absolutely important that you are showcasing exactly what you want people to think about when they think of your business. So what goes on in the backyard is a whole nother story. So in the front yard, they're not going to see you lying there in your swimmers, sunbathing. That's probably happening in the backyard. They're not seeing you necessarily having a party in your front yard. That's happening in the backyard. So let's go see what goes on in the backyard. That's your Facebook group. That's where you hang out with people that you want to spend time with, but it's invitation only. I can't be walking my dog and then decide, oh, I'm just going to zip into the backyard and sit down, ask if I could have a glass of wine and have a chat. I'm only going to be doing a little wave maybe as I walk past the front yard, but I'm going to hope to one day be invited in because I'm really liking this garden here and I want them to chat to me about their garden. So, or maybe I'm walking past the front yard and I can ask a few questions about the plants and then we might get to be friends. And then eventually I might get invited into the backyard. So think about your Facebook group like a barbecue. You're there to make sure that the drinks are flowing, the food's coming, people are meeting each other and having a fun time because you're the host of your Facebook group. So you don't invite people over and then go off and take a nap. No, you talk to people, you introduce people to each other, you help collaborations happen, and you ask questions of them. So that's my best analogy for a Facebook page and a Facebook group. Yes, if you're going to have a Facebook group, you absolutely need to have a Facebook page. In fact, you need to have a Facebook page regardless. And if you don't want to work your Facebook page, then let people know that. Have a post up there and say, hi, let's say it was my one. I'd say, hi, Kylie here from Hello Media. We mostly spend time on Instagram, so click this link and go and hang out with us there, for example. But I would never just have nothing. I would make sure it was a really schmick looking, super tidy, lovely spot. Number 3 is choose the right places where your peeps are hanging out. So there is definitely not one single one size fits all marketing channel that works for every business. You need to work out where are the best places for you. So let me know in the chat what places you're using. So obviously there's just a few here I've mentioned: X, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, email marketing, but there are bazillions. So think about where your audience is because that's where you want to be. So you can have a little think about who's, where, what, why, and how. Don't, though, look at this and go, only 465 million monthly users on Pinterest, and most of them are female, aged between 30 to 49, and so they are not my ideal audience. I'm not going to be there. Because there's still a whole lot more people there, and maybe they are looking for exactly what you do. I'm going to use Christopher as a prime example. This is not true, but let's just pretend that his ideal audience was 50 to 60. And let's say that they were male. So in this instance, we can see that it's a younger audience and they're female. But hello, what about the fact that a lot of these might be married to a man of that age, perhaps? So he would be putting posts out there that maybe they'd be looking on themselves, or maybe their partners would be looking on and going, hey, Christopher, check out this one. This is exactly what we're talking about that you were interested in, for example. So there's lots of different ways you can think about where you want to be and where you want to be showing up. So I know that TikTok is not the place I need to be. My ideal audience is not 18 to 24. My ideal audience is also not 25 to 34, but LinkedIn is 100% a place that I should spend more time. However, I don't, because I just don't love the platform. But each year I say I'm going to spend a little bit more time on it. And you know what is something good that I do, which is schedule content for LinkedIn. So if you go to my LinkedIn profile, there would at least be content there. However, it did get hacked recently. It completely got, everything on my LinkedIn got wiped. So all I've done so far is just done a very short bio and a new cover image, which is something, but I've definitely got to get back on there and build it again, which is fun. X, that's Twitter. So yes, I'm on there. I don't love it. So again, I just schedule content for it, but it's not really where I want to be spending my time hanging out. My two favorite places to hang out are Facebook and Instagram. And it tells you what each one is good for. So you can take a little snapshot of this if you want to. And you can see though that the downside on this one could be limited reach, limited interaction. Definitely a downside on Twitter will be the number of characters you can use. YouTube, for example, I'm always surprised when they put this in here as a social media platform, because actually YouTube is a search engine and it's where you go to watch things, whereas social media platforms like these ones are actually just a scroll. So I kind of like to put that one off to the side, and I think YouTube is a brilliant, brilliant platform. But and if you're not using it yet, you absolutely 100% need to be. But we'll talk about that more in a moment. So what have we got over here? We've got BT saying Insta or Facebook, Janine, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and need to get back to Pinterest. Yay. I cannot say enough about the importance of Pinterest. What else? Facebook and email for Jenny, Instagram and Facebook for Charmaine. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. All right. Oh, who hacked? Oh, that's a whole nother story, Janine. We'll talk about it in a bite size one day very soon. I'm just trying to get it all. It wasn't just LinkedIn, it was many things, but just trying to get everything fixed and back in place, and then I'll do a big session about it. So let's talk about digital marketing, because a lot of people say, what is it? What is digital marketing? Social media marketing is pretty obvious, isn't it? Because it's how we market what we're doing on social media. Digital marketing is quite different. So it is also known as online marketing. So it's where your brand is seen online. So it's the selling of products and your services through online platforms, social media, SEO, email, mobile apps, etc. So basically it's how you're getting your message out there about what you do. So what disappeared in the last year or two? Clubhouse? Well, no, I won't say disappeared. What became less popular? Clubhouse, Telegram, WhatsApp to a certain degree. But what came on through 2023 that was pretty big was YouTube Shorts, podcasting, Zoom, SEO, Pinterest, Instagram Reels, TikTok, LinkedIn, websites really took a big boost, and your e-commerce stores. So there's lots and lots and lots of things that change. Some come, some go. Some completely disappear, like look at MySpace, for example. But that doesn't mean that just because they're less that you should use them any less if they're the right ones for you. So for example, Threads, I love Threads. We actually don't even have it on here, I've just realized, but I'm not using it the same way that I did last year, but every time I go onto it, I find some absolute gems. And I've got some colleagues / competitors, however you like to refer to them, and who are absolutely nailing it on Threads. They've got a much smaller audience, but they're super, super engaged. So you want to think about these platforms and where you want to be. And obviously there's way more platforms than what I've just mentioned here. So let's talk about Meta, for example. So Meta has Instagram, Threads, Facebook, WhatsApp, and a few other things as well, but we'll just focus on these ones. So you want to think about doing reels, stories, single posts, carousels. There's also the broadcast channels, I should say, not just one. Anyone can have a broadcast channel. You want to think about your hashtag strategy on there. On Facebook, you want to think about reels, stories, single posts, carousels, etc. And a hashtag strategy. But you also want to think about groups, Messenger, Notes, Facebook Lives, Meta Business Manager, Meta AI. There's so many to think about. On Twitter, you want to think what's actually called X, of course. Now, you want to think about hashtags. That's a really big, important one for that. On LinkedIn, you want to think about groups, your professional and your business page. On Pinterest, you want to think about your pins and your ideas pins. Your Google business page. So some people still refer to it as Google My Business, but that disappeared about 4 years ago. I'm still astounded when I see people still calling it that. It's actually called your Google Business Profile. So you need to absolutely be working your Google business page, your Google Workspace, your Google Ads. There's so many amazing things. And if you're not posting once a week on your Google Business Profile, then shame. But what a lost opportunity, because one of these posts can be put up there every single week. And it will really help you with getting found on a Google search. So anything you do in the whole Google sphere is going to help you and your website get found better. So think about that one all the time. What are you doing in terms of Google that's going to help you get found more? So of course, there's your e-commerce store, if that's relevant to you, business to consumer, business to business, and of course, consumer to consumer. There's email marketing, newsletters, copywriting. You're building up your email list. There's keywords copywriting for SEO, search engine optimization, that is, of course. Zoom, that's a great tool in itself, because we could right now, or actually what Jenny and I do on our Monday morning business, bite-sized business, is we go live onto lots of different platforms. So there's heaps of way to be reaching more people and showing up online. Of course, there's your podcast too. So one of the massive big trends for 2024, in fact, I read something which disturbed me greatly, which was less blogging, more podcasting. And I'm like, hell no to that. What you need to do is what we do, which is we do our live podcast. And then, of course, we use Otter to transcribe that whole thing. We then turn it into a shortened version of, so a blog post comes out of that whole session. Pop that onto the website, and then we can then include an embedded format of that the live from YouTube into that blog post as well. So I would never say out with the blog post and in with the podcast, because some people like to read and some people like to watch and some people like to listen. We're all different. So never think no to the blog, but definitely think about doing a podcast. It's well worth thinking about this year. What about making content that your audience will resonate with? So understanding who they are, and we already talked about your customer avatar, understanding by looking at your analytics from last year, what it is that they're actually watching more of. Maybe for you it's reels, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's carousels, but maybe it's not. Maybe they just like photos of your dog. It's a known fact. I can't think off the top of my head what the percentage is, but if there is a dog in your photo, how much more engagement you'll get. So, maybe you want to borrow one. I've got 2, luckily, so I can pop photos up of the dogs in the office. That's quite something I do a fair bit, but make sure that you're sharing that. Jenny does a great thing in her strategy, which is puts up her shoes. Now that might sound quirky until you know Jenny, and she's very, very passionate about her Nikes. So go and check her out, look on her socials and see how cute it is. Every time something pops up about her shoes, she gets some great engagement on it. So that's really, really important. So remember that if you're putting out content that your audience resonates with, that really increases your chance of them engaging with it and then you getting conversions from it. So we want to identify the key problems that your audience is facing, craft a compelling message that resonates with your audience, and use storytelling to create emotional connections, and choose the right format for your content. Of course, one thing I'm always blown away by is when people are doing the square layout as a reel, or even the square layout as their Facebook or their Instagram posts these days, because that also went out about 2.5 years ago. Now we just do the portrait size rather than the square. Leveraging social media to reach your target audience, using data to track your content's performance, creating content that adds value to your audience's lives, and incorporating feedback to continuously improve your content. So through that, of course, you can be asking the questions, but you can also be going and looking at your analytics. That's super, super important. So your social media marketing strategy is centered around content. Number 5, plan where you're going to post use a content calendar. Now, I mentioned before about the importance of Meta Business Suite. So Meta, e.g. Facebook, Instagram, etc., do not like it when you schedule from somewhere else. If you're still using Hootsuite, for example, that's a great platform, but you will be penalized for posting from it. Why? Well, that's because Meta wants you on their platforms. So because we were all using those, because we had no choice, if we wanted to schedule content, we had to do it from one of those other platforms, but we were all getting penalized for it. So now they built their own platform. First of all, they built Creator Studio. Then they built Business Suite. They kept saying one of those was going to go away. It got very confusing for quite some time, but definitely only focus on Meta Business Suite. It's the one that they're really building out and adding to every few weeks, really. It's quite extraordinary how powerful it is. So you could use that as your content calendar and plan your posts. So it helps you because I'm going to give you an example of Sue Walker. She's in the room here today, and she has a plan or a strategy where every single Saturday she sits down and she creates her content and then she schedules her content. And so all week she doesn't need to think about it. She can do the odd live one if she wants to, and she can go in there and do community engagement, etc. But every Saturday her content is made for the week and it is scheduled. How freeing is that? We love that. It's a total weight off your mind that you don't suddenly go, oh, it's 9:30 at night and I haven't posted anything today. Quick, what am I going to post? And either putting up something that you haven't really thought about or not posting at all. And then suddenly it's 6 months later and you still haven't posted at all. So coming up with a way of how you're going to prepare and schedule your content is so important. So you need to think about it. Why are you going to invest serious time, energy, and resources into social media? And what platforms are you going to be on? So for example, I create the portrait size and then I can post them onto Facebook. I can post them onto Instagram. I can then just do a quick resize for Pinterest. And then I'm going to do a resize for Instagram, for LinkedIn and for the Google Business Profile. So I'm not bothering with TikTok. And I also put a square onto X. So it's really simple. Once I've got my first lot made out, then I'm just going to go resize into that next board and off I go. So I will always tweak the graphic for which platform it's going on to, especially for Pinterest. And I will also tweak the caption because, like, for example, with X, it needs to be much shorter. So I really want to be very, very careful and very, very strategic about what I'm posting and where I'm posting it. So depending on where it is, your marketing strategies will differ a little for each social media platform. Like I said, I'm only doing 1 on the Google Business Profile per week. So if I'm doing 5 on Facebook each week or 3 on Facebook each week, whatever it is that I'm doing, then I'll think about which one of those is going to be best on Google Business and which one of those is going to be best on Pinterest, because I don't need to have a post on Pinterest every day. And I don't need for all of those posts on Pinterest. So for example, if I'm talking about this workshop and I'm doing a reminder post and saying, it's tomorrow, I'm not going to put it on Pinterest and I'm not going to put it on Google, but I will put it into my stories and some of these other platforms. So let's just see for a little bit. So for example, Facebook sends out a lot of traffic more than any other network. Instagram is a platform really well suited for visual brands. So pictures, call out quotes, short form video are doing really well here. So for example, Reels. X, it's more a news platform, curation and retweeting are encouraged here. LinkedIn is the professional network where industry articles, interesting data, short to the point sentences go a long way. So each one of these, I'm going to make them slightly different depending on what I'm actually putting out. Number 6 is keep an eye on your campaigns to see how they're doing. So I talked a little bit before about the importance of analytics and how you can go and check it out in Meta Business Suite. So remember, that is business.facebook.com. And it's absolutely magic. So that data can really help guide you on what content you want to make in your future and what content you want to do less of. But how about you created something awesome that you totally loved and it just died and no one loved it? That doesn't mean it was just bad. What you could do is then go, okay, I need to change the caption. Or why don't I try and change just the cover of that image? Or if it was just a single image, maybe I need to turn it into a carousel. So there's different ways that you can repurpose that content and see if you can find better ways for it to perform Don't just put all this effort into one thing and it dies and you go, well, that was hopeless. That was no good. Find ways to reuse it and keep testing it out. So we do these reports for our clients, well, social media management clients, every quarter, so that they can see, and this is just a very, very basic bit of one page of it, for example, is that we would show there's what was happening 3 months ago, there's your total today, but this is your reach. So the followers is not what's got me so worked up, but what has got me worked up is this. So to reach that many people 3 months later is absolutely phenomenal. So what you want to be looking for is your reach. It's going to be very, very different. Well, it should be very, very different for followers. So if your content is performing well, you don't want to think that, then I should be getting thousands and thousands of followers, because especially with Reels, people are loving Reels, but it doesn't mean that they're going to click on your account and go and follow you. So you want to make sure it's this that's growing and steadily growing. So this is a great example. They've got 6,000 followers, but their reach is up 461%, which, oh, sorry, their reach was 6,000. It's up by 461%. That's what we're looking for. You can see along here, boom, 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 and then boof. So maybe we've got stuck into creating some kind of content that people are really into. You can look through even just looking on your Instagram account, go into your settings, check out what's going on here, see how many accounts you've reached, how many accounts are engaged, what are your total followers, and how much content you've shared. So there's all kinds of things that you can do, but definitely think about what are your social media goals? What's your social media strategy going to be? And then work all of that out around the data, because unless you know your data, you cannot make those decisions. So look carefully at the metrics from each social media channel so you can see where and how that you've generated leads, how you've driven traffic to your website, how you've pushed social follows, and how you've increased conversions. And that's not just for your social media. Also go and look at the back end of your email marketing platform. Look at all the same thing to do with your data in there as well. Even each newsletter, study which part of the newsletter did they drop off so that they opened it. Well, that's great. Did they click on the links? Did you get them anywhere past the first sentence? Like, there's so much for you to look at to help you make decisions for what will your next newsletter look like. Reviewing your data is so important, but also check out your competitors. Be aware of them, glance at them from time to time, see what's working for them, and definitely look at what's not working for them as well. But make sure you run your own race and keep your own brand voice. So look at who are your closest competitors, which social channels are they using to connect with their audience, what are they doing well, what are they doing not so well, what content are they producing, how is it performing, and where do they need to improve on their socials. You might want to do an audit of their business. So just like you're going to do one of your own, also do one on theirs. So let's look at a few trends for what's going on right now. So the current state of the social media landscape. 61.4% of the world's population uses social media. The average daily usage, this could be mind-blowing or not, but it is for me, is 2 hours and 24 minutes. I think that is a lot. So social networks have transformed marketing. And as you can see by these stats, the popularity of social media is still growing, which is just extraordinary. Facebook is still by far the biggest one. So I hear all the time people saying, oh, Facebook's dying, but it is never dying. Facebook is still a huge opportunity. They're still number one, and they have over 3 billion active users, which is pretty mind-blowing. And you can still get a decent organic reach with the right strategy. So how do consumers interact with different post formats in social media? Well, check this out. So this is on Facebook, the top example. So live video is getting by far the most. Tell me in the chat if any of you are doing live video. I am terrible at doing live video. I don't enjoy it. I never have. I know it's always going to get the best reach by far, but weirdly enough, I just don't like it. So I prefer to record some video, pop it up there where it's got some great transcript there going on, and I'm feeling more confident with what I've put out. But that said, it will always get incredible results. So think about live video if you're not already. The next thing is links, images, status, and video. The next one is Instagram. If we go down, check that out, carousel. Now, That means across all accounts, the carousel is the top post type. That doesn't mean it's going to be top for your business though. The next one down was image and the next one down was video. But again, remember that's across all accounts, not actually necessarily what's happening on your account. So you can only know this when you go and look at your insights, either in the back end of Instagram on your phone or go and have a little look at Meta Business Suite. So there are now more than 140 billion reels plays across Facebook and Instagram each day. That's a 50% increase from 6 months ago. Whoa. So social media is quietly shifting away from the constant push for more followers, more reach, more engagement, and all public facing vanity metrics. Thank goodness, it's about time. So now what it's focusing on is building genuine relationships, making sales, and growing businesses. So you don't want to get so caught up on getting lots of followers. You want to build relationships instead. You want to get to know your customers well enough that they would become your loyal, paying and repeat customers or clients. So for 2024, it's time to take control of your business. So now we're shifting away from that full-on vanity metric stuff into relationship marketing. So whether you're B2B or B2C, it's all P2P, which is people to people or human to human. And people do business because they have a relationship with the people behind the brand. So we want to think about attracting our loyal tribe. Now, one of my favorite gurus, Mari Smith, says, content is king, but engagement is queen, and she rules the house. Now, she's been saying that for years and years, but now she's changed it up. So let me know if you can imagine what she has said is different. She's changed engagement to something else. So what might she have said is now different when we think about relationship marketing? Does anyone have a clue what it might have changed to? I'm going to show you. It's content is king, but community is queen, and she rules the house. So you want to be comfortable now driving people to your community. Engagement is super important, but you need to engage to build relationships, to then convert those people you're engaging with to become part of your community. So build that Facebook group, grow it, get people in there, get them learning about you, etc. And then that's a beautiful way to make announcements about your business. So for those of you that were saying one of your social media strategy goals would be that you wanted to drive conversions, etc., for you, this community focus will be bigger than ever. Let's take a little look at what's working on social media today, and that is better content. So tell me, got from 1 to 5, so 1 being the least important and 5 being the most important. Tell me what do you think video is in your, what kind of importance does video hold for you in your overall social media strategy? So 1, nope, video is not important to me. 5, video so important to me. Janine Boof. Janine, have you put your socials in, Janine? I hope you have, because your reels are fabulous. I always enjoy watching them. Christine and Charmaine, they all say 5 for video. Jenny, 3 to 4. Vanamala, 5. Great. It's good to see, guys, because short form video is so important. People are watching it and consuming it like never before. So we can, of course, be creating all kinds of content. So videos, lives, carousels, groups, reels, image posts, storytelling, our profile page. They're all different places that we need to be focusing on for our social media. But why video? So can you guys tell me if you can hear that? Because I think I'm just going to stop. I'm going to reshare where I click on share sound. And let's see, that's better. So videos are processed by the brain 60,000 times faster than text. They're easily digested, they're easily shared, and video storytelling is much more effective than a sales pitch, and it focuses on a story rather than a product or service. So check out this. I'm just going to press play on this little silly swimming pig one. Oh, the sound is gone. Where is my little piggy music? Huh. I don't know why you can't hear it, but anyway, there's a little video and you can just see some words overlaid there, but you're intrigued by the swimming pig. So if I just said the words, which were, here we go. Does it feel like you're swimming in circles and need some direction? Next bit was that the digital marketing juggle is all too much. The Hello Media team can simplify it for you. Get in touch and get a strategy. Read the caption for more details. Imagine if all I'd said there was just that and no video at all. It's the video that keeps people watching to the end. But let's go and take a look at that and see what we're really talking about. I'm going to use this client, you can too, as an example. So they're a client that are in New Zealand and they're a dance studio, ballroom, and Latin American. So they have quite a limited audience, as you can imagine, because they're just in one city. People aren't going to fly up from Christchurch for a dance lesson, for example. So we started working with them in October of 2022. So just over a year ago now. And they had about 460 followers when we started on Instagram, about 15 subscribers on YouTube, and yet these did super well. So this is the same one. So on a reel, you can actually give it a cover. Oh no, sorry, they're different ones. But anyway, just showing you, you can see that even though they only had 460 followers, they could get nearly 5,000 views on a reel. So that's the beauty of doing short form video, is it goes into a reels feed. It doesn't stay in the normal feed. So what that means is as soon as you've gone into the reels feed to watch a reel and you start scrolling, you see reel after reel after reel, and majority of them will be from businesses that you're not following or pages that you're not following. So this is a little bit of magic. It's reels are your best way to get found by people that didn't know you exist. Second best way is hashtags. But anyway, we're talking about reels right now. So then this one here got put onto YouTube as a short, 1.2 thousand views, yet they've only got 15 subscribers. So that's pretty extraordinary too. So if you're not utilizing your reels as a short, then it's time you started doing that. But look then what happened to these guys. They went from 460 followers, and then I just took a screenshot of this morning. They're now up to 8,500 followers. So in just over a year, they've got some amazing, amazing growth. Look at some of these. Here is 11.1 thousand views on this reel, 9.8 thousand views on this reel. It's absolutely amazing. And if you're not quite sure exactly what that equates to, an average cinema seats between 200 and 230 people. So if you think about how many people they're actually reaching, it's mind-blowing. And they about every 6 weeks, they run this one free introduction class. And then, of course, they do special offers during that class so that people can sign up to a course and all that. They're averaging between 90 and 110 people in that free class. They're absolutely mind-blowing because before, they certainly weren't getting those kind of numbers. But now, because of what's going on in their socials and they're getting this incredibly loyal following, it's really helping them be found by more people, which then is equating to way more business. So the next little thing I want to show you is this. So for sure, we want to talk about short form video and how you need to really jump onto that Reels bandwagon, and remembering that done is better than perfect. So you want to make sure that you're not trying to make the best reel you possibly can and spend a whole day on it. You want to really just get content out there. So this little one here was made in I was going to say on Instagram. No, it wasn't. It was made in Canva. You can see, I'm not sure if this sound will play now because I did something weird when I reshared. But anyway, there's lots kind of little fun things you could do with it though. But that is an example of something you can do in Canva. My favorite platform for creating reels though is CapCut, but that's a whole story for another day. But let's talk about this. So I have on Instagram, I'll ask one of my team to share the account here for you. The middle post that's always the pinned post on Instagram is this post here, and you can, it's a little carousel, because people forget, and I see it all the time, that they're forgetting that you can only put what's important of your reel in this part here and in your story in this part here. That's the safe zone. All this other stuff, people often put their captions and stuff down there or their offers down there, but nobody can read it because all of that there is taken up by everything else that we see as we're scrolling. And the same with at the sides and the same with at the top. So make sure you're absolutely using that real safe zone. And if you forget about it, you can always find it pinned in the middle post on our Instagram account. The next thing we want to think about is short and concise captions. So you want to communicate in short and concise captions to capture your customers' attentions. Because short form video is taking over, attention spans are constantly dropping, and businesses have a bigger challenge than ever before. So make sure that your captions, especially that first line, really are going to capture people. Try and ask a question. Try and use the word you in that first little few words if you can, because it's going to grab my attention. It's going to make me know that what that content's about is for me, and it's going to make me read that caption. User-generated content is another really, really important one. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen this. I'm hoping I've got the link here. No, I haven't, but one of my team hopefully could share the link with you. So user-generated content, also known as UGC or consumer-generated content, it's original, brand-specific content, and it's created by customers and published on social media or other channels. Now let's think about Jenny. Earlier before, Ash unmuted herself and just, because she wanted to, shared how she found Empire Builders. She wasn't prompted. She wasn't anything. She just felt compelled to do that. Now imagine if that was recorded and then Jenny could really use that little bit of content and put it out all over her socials. Or Ash could get up and do a live and share how she feels about doing that with Jenny. That's user-generated content. And keep on remembering always that people believe what other people say about you far more than they believe what you say about you. So for Jenny to share what Ash said is way more powerful. I'm imagining all of you sitting here watching today. As soon as Ash started talking, we're like, I'd like to get me some of that too. Yet Jenny talks about it and you're intrigued, but when someone else steps in and goes, it was a game changer for me, well, it's really, really powerful stuff. So these guys here, watch it when you've got a chance. It's phenomenal. So I don't know if you know about the Stanley viral thing that's been going on in the last few months, but basically, to cut it down really, really short, I'll just tell you that this brand has been around for well over 100 years. Their sales were lagging. They went down this whole new path with these particular ones and introduced colors for the first time, and they went viral. But what really went crazy was when this car blew up, there was a big fire in it, and the only thing still left was the Stanley Cup. Now that person put a little video up as a little reel onto their socials. The Stanley guy then came forward and he did a little reel in response and said, that's phenomenal. Not only am I going to replace your Stanley Cup, but I'm also going to replace your car. And so from there on, it just went mad. And these guys, their growth has just been mind-blowing. So Angel's just put that link up. Save that little link so you can watch it later because it's pretty phenomenal. The next one is get personal on social media. So turn your personal Facebook account into a professional account and post about your business at least once a week. You might want to take a little snapshot, a little screenshot I'll show you in a moment. So do I need a separate Facebook page for business? Yes, but don't just leave the awareness raising of you and your business to your business page alone. You need to also be having it on your personal page. So if you haven't already switched over to a professional account, then take a screenshot of this and follow it along. So you want to turn it on. You're going to make sure over here you can tell that you're a personal, because you can notice on mine, it says that there's so many followers. It doesn't say so many friends. So it's super easy to do it. Go turn on professional mode in your settings, or you can go back and turn it off if you don't like it. So anyway, it's a really, really good thing to do. And then the last thing to remind you is overhaul your business foundations. So that's things like your website, your SEO, your email, your social media, your digital ads, your community management, your reputation management. All of those are going to make a huge difference in how the world responds to you and your business. So you want to overhaul all of these things, update your old graphics, your videos, check for broken links, do a really good audit, not just a social media audit, but an audit of your whole business, including your website, etc. as well. So your marketing strategy, as a little reminder, now there's 12 things in here, so I'm going to zip through them, but they're all bits we've already talked about. So number one, we want to be collecting email addresses. Focus on list building, and remember, you don't own your socials, but you do own your email list. Diversify your social platforms. Try and be active on at least one or more non-Zuck platform. That means not just Instagram or Facebook. Social commerce expansion. Turn likes into sales. So don't always just be thinking about putting a post out there. If you're an e-commerce business, you can tag these products in here. This is one of our clients, Lemon Myrtle Fragrances. You can see there's the picture there of the product. We've tagged it there. It makes it very, very easy for people to buy. did it load? Yes. Think about augmented reality. So these are Snapchat lenses, all kinds of things, stitches and filters on stories. There's a little example here that we can send you the link to, which is what IKEA have done, which is so clever, so that you can now place something in your room and see what it will actually look like. So there's all kinds of AI that you can do to have fun with. But short form is still the queen. So, for example, TikTok boasted 1.677 billion global users, Instagram 17.6 million hours of views. Basically, short, impactful videos remain the absolute top thing for marketing products and driving new traffic. If you're already doing reels, then you need to be putting them over into shorts on YouTube. So simple to do. Definitely get on that. Sustainability and social responsibility. So consumers resonate with brands that support causes. So showcase your commitment to sustainability. It's not just ethical, it's good for your business. So this one's some example, like how to have an eco-friendly Christmas. If you're Australian made, make sure you jump on that campaign. There's all kinds of things that you can do to showcase what you're about. Platform specific trends. So tailoring for each audience. Elon Musk said on X, 2024 is going to be even more crazy, is my prediction. So definitely jump on it, have a little look at each one of those platforms and look at what can you do different in each one. User generated content. Remember, I gave you that example, and then Angel shared that link in the chat, so you can go and have a look at that one later. Number 11, social media automation. So that's things like scheduling posts or responding to FAQs and messages. So it frees up time for deeper connections and helps you with engagement with your audience. So jump onto business.facebook.com and start with some of that. Building relationships and community. So using your Facebook group, get audience specific insights and build loyal customers. Oh, and it's 13, actually, not 12. Number 13 is AI integration. So personalize and simplify. Got lots of things to tell you about AI, but that will be in a whole nother workshop. So if you're ready to make 2024 your best yet, then you'll need a simplified, planned, and research strategy. So it's time to share more, show the world what you stand for, be more purpose-driven, more human, more imperfect, and more real. So remember also to be collecting reviews. I should have put that in as number 14. That should be a huge part of your strategy. And then don't just have those reviews sitting there, use them. Put them in your presentations, put them in your social media posts, put them everywhere, because like I said before, people believe what other people say about you more than they believe what you say about you. So if you would be so good as to jump into the chat and let me know your aha moment from this session. What was the bit that made you go, oh, I get it, I need to go and do that right now, or not right now, but for this year, that's what I'm going to be working on this year. And while you're putting that in there, if you guys want help on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, jump into this membership. It is by far the best low-cost way that you can jump in. It is 2 lots of live sessions to learn online, 2 lots of live sessions to ask that we can ask me anything. Plus, we're going to do that 2 to 3 hour big, fat, meaty content creation session where you're going to create your content and have some support there. So if you want that, we'll have a link in the chat for you to jump on that as well. And now I'd just like to say, does anybody have any questions? Oh, Wendy says, I need to learn how to hashtag. Also a lot for me to learn about reels and shorts. I know, it is a lot. There's so much there. That's why I think just going, okay, what am I going to focus on? Like for you, you might just say, I'm going to learn reels and I'm going to really get stuck into creating reels, and that's all I'm going to do. Or hashtags. I'm going to really get stuck into creating a hashtag strategy. Or email marketing. That might be my focus this year, but you can't chew on all of it because it's too much. But for each person here, I'm sure one thing for each person, there'll be something in there that I share that you'll go, that's the one thing for me. That's a great place to start. Christopher says, loved the infographic about the features of the different social media platforms. Great to carefully choose the right medium for connecting. Great session, Kylie and Jenny. Thanks. Shane says, start with auditing my business. Yes, that's so good. I'm so glad to hear that, Charmaine. And short videos. Very good. Audio My Business Start Facebook group. Yay! Audit, I'm sure you meant start a Facebook group. Vanamala, that's a great thing, because especially if it's not called your business, you can bring people in from all over the world that are interested in face yoga. And then once a week, you could do a little bit about, oh, I'm offering a free class or whatever it is. Lots of good ways to get people involved and interacting with you. So you're very, very welcome,
I'm
Charmaine.
going to
Thank
share
you.
mine though, Carly, when you're talking. You reminded me when you very first at the start, you talked about having 100 really engaged followers. And there's a really great article that's out. It's an old article now that talks about the value of 1,000 raving fans. And that's what that reminded me of, is we often forget about wanting thousands and thousands and thousands of people buying our product. But imagine just 1,000 people who will buy anything and everything that you put into market every year. That, if you have 1,000 raving fans and your product is $50,000, that's $50,000 from your raving fans. And every time you put a product out, every time you run a new class, every time you put a new coaching course out, you get their engagement. So that really resonated with me, Carla, when you're talking about just focus on that quality of the community and the people that you have in that community, because that's where your raving fans are going to sit. So I think it's such a great point for everyone to remember. And you
I
said
love
it,
it.
but I wanted to reaffirm it for everyone who's listening.
I love that. Thank you. And you know what? It's one of the most common things people ask me when they come on board or just have a discovery call and they want us to do their social media for them. And they go, we just want more followers. We just want to grow our numbers. And I'm like, does growing your followers equate to growing your revenue? No.
It doesn't. And I think so important.
So important. Leanne says reels, stories, and auditing the meta side. Yay. And Christina says definitely auditing my business, converting my canvas to sales. Beautiful. And Janine says I need to spend more time on my own strategy and scheduling. Yes, to the scheduling. Have a chat sometime with Sue Walker about that. She does such a good job of set that time aside each week. Boom, boom, boom. But we're going to be doing it in our monthly membership too, where you're going to set that time aside, create that content, and go off and get it done.
Yeah.
So that's super exciting. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today and learning. I know Jenny knows there's a lot. There's so much, but hopefully there's enough there that it's going to take you through the whole year. So we're going to, we've recorded this. We'll put it up. You'll be able to go out and you'll be able to rewatch it. That's one of the things that I'd like to do, is go back and go through it maybe in 3 months' time and go, you'll always find something new that you hadn't picked up the first time because you were overwhelmed and you were writing notes from the first bit perhaps and then missed the second and the third bit. So it's always good to revisit things. But like I said, I do an audit every quarter. I go and check out my insights every month, sometimes every week. There's always stuff to look at, which helps you make decisions moving forward. Any last words from you, Jenny?
No, I'm very excited. I mean, I've written down so many notes at the same time. I think, you're the social media guru, but from my perspective, what I'm loving is, and if people aren't using MetaSuite, I know for us, that's what we use for everything. It is and to your point, it's such a powerful space to play. And if there's one piece of learning you want to get on board really early that you could do, Meta also provides some really amazing training for that. But your training also in the Shine group will show them the value and power of that to repurpose, look at the stats, look at your metrics. So for me, my 3 takeaways are definitely about focus on community and focus on quality of the followers and the people that you're in the room, and give the time and effort into those, because they're the ones that are going to grow with you and be your raving fans either for themselves or refer. That use of MetaSuite and the most importance about tracking and reporting about and looking at the metrics, whether you're goal setting at the start, tracking and measuring what you're doing, or whether you're looking at your social media strategy or digital marketing strategy. Look at the numbers to see how well it's working and tweak it, and don't be afraid to change it, right? Don't be afraid to do that. And so I think they're my 2 takeaways, which I think go across both the pieces. But so much information in the last 3 hours and a bit. So we've got a little bit over today. We tend to do that. We like to squeeze as much as we possibly can into 3 hours, and we never quite make it. So I thank you for sticking out to us for the last 10 minutes for those who are joining us. It's been phenomenal. And I think, Kylie, you've helped us and motivated definitely myself and my team also to get on board and do our few things that we're a bit lagging in the new year behind.
Yay. Very good. packed program indeed, Christopher. Lots to absorb, lots to take on, and hopefully everyone's got their sitting. What am I trying to say, Jenny, about their goal
Setting
setting?
their goals and understanding what they're going to do for this year and working out how they're going to spend their time.
Yay!
I'm
Then
trying to
go
say.
look. Then go look at your analytics and Meta Business Suite and look at what went well for you in 2023 on your socials.
And also when you're looking at goals, with someone we're talking a couple of ones, and it refers to this as well when you're talking about wanting more sales, wanting better, conversions, wanting to speed up that is an intersection between how to set goals and also how you're promoting and marketing yourself to your clients, because they are linked together. Your business success lives and dies by how people talk about you and see you in the market. You don't exist unless you have customers. So we can teach you how to set goals, but if you're not finding your customers and connecting with them, you don't really have a business. As the amazing the godfather of strategy, Peter Drucker, used to say, businesses only exist because we have amazing customers who work with us. And so, that's important for all of us to remember, that we're here because you're here and vice versa. So thank you for giving us your 3 hours of time today. It's been amazing. It's so good to see so many new people and some older faces that have come back to us. So friends from the past who've joined us again. So thank you so much for joining us for today. We really hope that you've got some value out of today. We're going to have some follow-up emails that will just give you some additional information and some links just to make sure you've got them in case you didn't get a chance to write them down. But we look forward to seeing you in the future. And if we can help you, reach out to us on our socials. That's what it's here for.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a
Thanks,
wonderful
everyone.
afternoon.
Thanks.
Cheers, Jenny. Bye.
See you, Kylie. Bye now.